What's up?
Can you guys hear me? There we go. I think I fixed it.
Yeah, man.
All right, cool.
What's going on?
Not much. Meant to do some things yesterday, end up passing out. You know.
Yeah, life.
Mhm.
Morning.
Morning. Got a lot we're gonna run through today.
Nice.
Just gonna try and move pretty quickly because I want to get through all this today. I'm gonna get started. We got one, two, three, like 7, 8 people, 10 people. All right. So I'm gonna do a quick share screen. Kind of run through some things here. We're gonna kind of discuss trading and stuff like that, and discuss charts, discuss kind of what we need to be looking for, so on and so forth. So first off, this was brought up by, let's see, chat, I think one of the members. Sorry, I must have missed it. It was Sammy. So Sammy brought this one to my attention. I've been aware of Casper. I just wasn't paying attention to the chart, but it looks pretty good for a bullish div. The problem is like, so let me think of how to phrase this. The hard part is like, if you look at this as a whole, Casper's already on the move, right? You have risk and you have reward here at the end of the day. So we always have to pay attention to risk. We always have to pay attention to reward. So while there's a massive bullish div playing out on Casper, there is risk to reward. I do want to, we'll cover that next actually. So we'll stay on this topic. So risk to reward. So right now, Casper's chopping sideways, right? Looks great, good support. I like it. Looks like it's in an accumulation phase and could be looking to bid higher, right? We do have a topping pattern here. So again, to pay attention to topping patterns and stuff like that, like what a topping pattern looks like, this is a clear invalidation, right? Slash pullback. How do we know this is a clear invalidation slash pullback? How could we know? Just you guys can take a stab at it. Just guess if you don't know.
Previous support.
Candles.
The candles, okay. What's with the candles?
They're just going straight down. There's no like testing or whatever.
Lower high.
Lower high, yep. So there is a key point in this chart, right? What's the key point here in this chart?
Stochastic going down too.
We'll actually get rid of that in the chart. What do we see with no stochastic, no RSI?
Looks like it's going sideways kind of for a certain point.
Yeah, but
And
this
then
move,
shoulders.
this move. Just pay attention to this move. What's going on there?
It pushed up the resistance.
We'll do this. There you go. Exactly what you said there. It pushed up to resistance. How were we able to identify resistance? I know I have the lines on the chart.
But
What is your resistance of a zone? Your previous
What-
what?
previous low.
Nope. Resistance is your previous what?
The order block.
Support. Previous
It's your
support.
previous support. Always think about resistance as your previous support. Where was the previous support? Well, the previous support was where price tested twice. And we saw that here and here. Now, what we saw here is we saw a ranging pattern, right? So stomp, 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 drop, shift, right? Quick shift. What happened up here? Look, actually, we're going to do this. And we're going to do this. What would you think here? What would your thoughts be? Is there a reward here? I want you guys' real thoughts. I didn't get a chance to give you guys a place to put your Excels. We'll go through those. But I want your real thoughts. What would your thought be right here? Anybody? You don't feel embarrassed. Just give me your realistic thoughts. What you would think right here.
It's gonna retest.
Okay, it's gonna retest. What else would your thought be? If price opened above support, what would your thoughts be?
It's gonna keep going up.
Gonna keep going up. There you go. That's exactly the response I was looking for. That's exactly the response I was looking for. So your thought is it's gonna keep going up. So would you buy here? Don't try
No.
to tell me what I want to hear. Don't try to
Yeah,
tell me what I want to
I
hear.
would if I
Oh, you
thought it was-
It's
if I
all
thought it
right.
was
It's all
gonna
right. That's what we want to hear. Go ahead.
yeah, like if I thought it was gonna keep going up, then definitely. If it looks like it's on a run, then yeah.
I want you guys 100% to be real with yourselves. Okay. Don't tell me what I want to hear, guys. And that's not at all the purpose of this meeting. The purpose of this meeting is getting to know your understanding, right? Because we have to break bad habits, and there's a lot of bad habits in the group. So we have a clear break above resistance, right? A great looking push to the high, and a lot of people would buy here. Now, I can tell you, if you bought there, right, we're going to have problems. Why are we going to have problems? Well, we're going to have problems. Oh, this is where they put that at. We're going to have problems because once this plays out, what do you see? What happens here to price?
It's gonna come back down.
It is, but
Am I
not
right?
everybody's going to see that, right? A lot of people are going to continue buying this through. But where's the invalidation for this price? Where's the invalidation? I'll show you. It's there. Why is it
The
there?
support, the last support.
The last support. And some people are like, well, that's not a support. Yes, it is. It 100% is. What did price do here? Held, tried to go back up, broke support. And what did it do once it broke? Ran straight down. This was 100% of support. And what happened to price?
Tanked.
No, it ran, right?
Oh, like after the first
Over here,
support. it
yeah.
tanked.
After the first support, you get a second opportunity. This is why you never sell the rundown. If you haven't gotten out before this happens, wait for the retest. It does this twice. It gives you an opportunity to get out of the bad trade twice.
Always.
Sometimes it's once. Sometimes it's twice. Sometimes it's 3 times. But it's typically always at least once. You have to take the opportunity when you see it. Now, look how bullish this structure looks. It looks very bullish, right? Looks good. Love it. Look over at the RSI. RSI is doing what? Following price. Everything looks amazing. Stochastic, way overbought, right? Now, we continue to watch the move. So we're looking for structure. We have support. We have solid resistance. We have no support over here, but we have solid resistance, right? So a lot of people are looking at this as if it's something that's going to hold. Why will this not hold? Anybody?
Divergence.
No. Why will this support not hold?
The macroeconomy.
Nope. Just the charts. We're just talking about the charts. Has it ever been a support before?
Yeah.
Where?
There's a first support.
No, this support right here. Has this supported any price action?
Oh no.
No.
No,
What's it?
that's the first time.
What has it done? It's only resisted, it,
Resistance.
right?
Yeah.
So because it's never held support, what do you think happens here once we catch that rejection?
it becomes a support.
Oh, it's true.
Retest.
Retest. Keep watching. Oh, look at that. Did it hold a support?
No.
Now I want you to pay attention. What happened to the open? You see that? That's a clear invalidation that you're going to go deeper. Right? Or validation. Sorry, not invalidation. This is a clear invalidation of price, validation that price is going to go deeper because you are below previous heavy resistance. Keep watching price. We should bump this up a little bit. Like 3x. Look how many times it tests the high here. Is it not literally doing the same thing it did here?
So recently, listening to another trader, I heard that when price moves a certain direction and then goes sideways, you can expect another move the same direction. Is that
Typically,
True.
yes. You're looking for price to continue moving. However, it's moving, whether that be up or down, right? But there are topping patterns, which we're going to discuss too, and stuff like that. Those are things that we really got to pay attention. But what do you see here with price? What happens with price? Oh, hold on. What happens with price here?
On sport.
It retests the previous low. Came down, hit it on the nose, and did what? Moved off of it. So now price is going. And now I want you to pay attention to the pattern here. What are you noticing about the overall pattern here?
Divergence. That's a bearish divergence?
No, there's no divs because we can't see MACD and we can't see RSI. What do we notice about the
Okay.
pattern?
Sideways?
I gave you a clue.
That's downward.
Lower highs.
Downward trend.
Lower highs. Exactly. Lower highs.
Lower
This is your high.
highs.
This is your low high. Right? That's our low high. And we're continuing to construct lower highs. Pay attention to price. Now keep watching. What happened?
Broke support?
Broke support. Broke support.
1,
Broke support.
2, 3, and you're gone. Continue to watch. Now, what are we seeing here? What are we seeing there? I'll give you a keyword. Starts with bottom.
Double bottom.
Nope. Starts with bottom. We're seeing bottom selling.
Bottom of the trend.
Bottom selling. How are we seeing bottom selling? Does this look anything like this?
No.
No.
What's
Sellers-
bottom selling?
So sellers are getting weaker and weaker as price drops. You're seeing less and less decline as price gets deeper and deeper. So basically, everybody's scared that price is just going to fall off a cliff. So everybody's exiting. They're exiting at the worst possible time. Now I'll show you in the RSI why this is the worst possible time. I'll show you on the stochastic why this is the worst possible time. But we're just going to go out chart patterns, right? So again, we indicate everything kind of moves in a big circle, right? So we're looking for like a takeoff move or a retest move, so on and so forth, of the low. And this is a nice starting to round position. Now, can this round come a little bit deeper? Sure, it could. But as of right now, People don't know what's going on. People are freaking out. People are getting out. I can tell you this, if you take this same high here and you were to just look at the angle of drop here, right? Between all the highs and try and touch all the highs here. We'll actually come right about there. And you were to take that and you were to just place that right there, your anticipation would be that you're going to come deeper. We keep watching. What are we seeing right now? What are we seeing with price?
Accumulation.
This is what an accumulation looks like. It does not look like this, guys. This is not accumulation. This is accumulation. What do you see in price action?
It's kind of going sideways.
Is there a lot of movement? Is there
Not
any
really.
volatility? The volatility is dead. This is key points to be looking at upside. Now continue to watch. Got a little bit more sellers out, right? What are we noticing right here in the zone? What are we noticing?
It's going sideways.
They're continuing to catch bids. They're catching bids all through here. That means price hits this, somebody is buying. You got to watch bid zones. Bid zones are massive. A lot of people are freaking out every single time. Look, sellers push back down, buyers push back up. Sellers push back down, buyers push back up. And this is your fighting range. A fighting range is an accumulation range. Interest is low, but buyers are willing to bid this price. Interest is low, but sellers are willing to sell this price. At the end of the day, eventually buyers outbid sellers. Why? Because you're getting a shifting of hands of people that had the coin at much lower prices that are exiting, and that price is now being built up higher because you're getting bids at a higher price. So the liquidity, a person selling after they just bought this whole zone here, doesn't make sense. They're buying here because they're looking to bid higher.
When you say bids, that just means buying, or is that like a call, like a?
So bid is kind of like pushing. They're expecting price to push higher, right? You're bidding. You're betting. You're bidding. You're saying, I want it to go higher. That's what bidding is. Just like
So
if I say they're bidding for price to go lower, then they're bidding. They're betting. They're betting that price will go lower.
Right,
So you can bid up. You can bid down.
but it's basically they're just buying it in hopes that it goes higher.
I wouldn't say in hopes, because for me, when you see price move like this, it means that whenever price crosses the zone, whoever is buying here, they anticipate for price to go up and they will continue to defend this price.
And that's a market maker, or that's just investors?
It could be investors, it could be market. The interest doesn't matter whether it's from investors or market makers, right?
Okay.
It's more about, is this fair price? If it's fair price, it's low price activity and accumulation. And again, this is the breakout that a lot of people were looking for, right? They got the breakout. They got to what? Previous resistance. Look at it like this. When you're coming up through levels, there's going to be scare zones, right? Your scare zone is always going to be your resistance zone. And this is why I tell you guys to never bid past your resistance, not when you're in a solid downtrend. You only bid past your resistance if you're in a full-on bull run. This is why I tell resistance traders get wrecked, right? That's why I'm telling you guys this. I told everybody this. Resistance traders are getting wrecked because they're playing the game stupid. They're longing here and shorting here, and longing here and shorting here. And those people will eventually be broke. That's how this game will work them out. They will be broke. Or they'll learn their lesson. I showed you guys yesterday, right? My first trade, one of my first trades, I lost $7,000. I'd say a year in, I lost $20,000. Like wiped out portfolios because of stupid positions I took. I learned to play more defensively when there's a downturn, and I play more offensively when there's an upturn. And I don't mean upturn as in, oh, look, we just pumped 100%. I mean, the market is in a solid accumulation phase, then I'm looking to bid, right? If the market is in some kind of ridiculous upbid phase, I'm looking to bid lower. It doesn't mean that I'm expecting price to just crash. It doesn't mean that I'm expecting prices to go lower lows. It just means that there's too much hype for the environment that we're in, and I'm expecting that price to reject again on previous resistance. This is exactly what happened with Bitcoin. Look,
When you say bid lower, does that mean you're shorting it or you're
I'm taking profits and or shorting,
okay?
right? Taking profits is the same thing as shorting, essentially. You guys got to understand that. It is 100% the same thing. Taking profits off the table is a solid thing to always be doing. And some of you will be like, well, I'm holding for longer. Look, if something pumps 100, 200% in the current environment, just take 150% off and leave 50% to run. If you're that scared, it's going to keep bidding. At least you got out with profit and your initial. This is something I taught you guys in FS. Those of you who've been following me for a while. Look, this is your bid zone. This is your zone to bid short. Does anybody disagree with that? You can. I'm just asking. I literally just asking. Does anybody disagree with that?
No.
So if we're all in the same consensus that this is the zone to bid short, why were people telling me 30K?
Opium.
That's it. Just pure speculation, guys. That's all it is at the end of the day. Speculation in this market will get you wrecked. If I followed, I hate using influencers because I don't want to bash people. That's just not my MO, guys. You know, but if I followed a lot of influencers, I almost one. If I followed a lot of influencers on their price targets, I wouldn't have made a dime in 2021. Wouldn't have made a single penny. Because everything that they called them at the worst possible times. Why did they do that? Somebody tell me.
Because they want to pump. They want to take your whatchamacallit? They want to take your profit. They want to what's it called? Liquidate.
I actually don't agree with that premise. Why do I not agree with it? Anybody kind of guess? That
don't
seems to
agree
be the MO for the conversation. Why would I not
How
agree?
about it's because it's what's going to get the most views?
There you go. That's what I agree with. I don't think they do it with ill intent to get you to buy their bags. I think they do it with ill intent to create content and keep content and people coming to their channel. That's really what I think it is. I don't think it has anything to do with getting you guys to lose your money, which it does. It does get you to lose your money. Don't get me wrong. But it's more about what are people's eyes on? What are people interested in? Think about it. Even institutions were doing this during the bull run. Like Nike was partnering up with certain coins, and you had what was it, PayPal and Cash App and all, like, oh, you could buy Bitcoin on us now. And now all of them are dumping it. Every one of them are dumping it. Why? Because it's no longer a hype factor. It's not drawing eyes to their platform, so they're no longer interested in it. That's all it is at the end of the day. It's all a click. It's free advertisement for them to make you bullish on whatever they have or whatever they are, and get you to buy their stuff or buy it through them. That's all it is.
And at that point, it's already too high. I mean, you're already too late.
Exactly. Like when people are telling people to buy Bitcoin up here, I'm just like, why? Why would you buy it here? Let me show you guys something. And this move seems to be very common. Look. See right here? What do you see right here? What do you see right there? Right here.
Imbalance.
support and resistance.
Support and resistance. Which one is it? Resistance, right? It's resistance. And look at that. Crazy, right? You want to know the even more crazy part? What did they do here?
They broke it.
And what did they do on the next candle?
Reverse it.
They reversed it, but nobody saw it coming because it's above resistance, right? So then they did what after that? They reversed it, and everybody thought here that it was going to come back up. And what happened? What did it do? It closed below it. Everybody was still in denial. What happened? It pumped back up to it. Everybody got hyped back in, and then what they do? Use them all as exit liquidity.
So, Will, if you've
So-
seen that happening live, sorry, if you've seen that happening, would you expect it to hit a support after it broke resistance, came back down? If you were seeing that in real time, would you say, okay, it could hit
I wouldn't
support?
buy till
keep-
here. I would not buy this. No way.
Right,
Until it retests, I don't buy.
right. That's what I'm saying. So you would wait for the retest and see if it does go back up or if it
And
breaks.
and I would
support.
have stops in place below. So if it hits my stops, I'm out. And then it pushes back in and it's gone. Now I could tell you, some of you guys, Billy, you other guys and other people in here, Cheryl, you guys been following me for a while. I told everybody in FS to get the hell out right here.
Yep.
Everybody.
You sure did. You sure did.
And you want me to show you where this occurs again? Look. Look at that. Pump, break a structure, break out, break below, retest, drop. It's an atypical move. What do we got right now? Oh, we're sitting here at 15K. I can tell you undoubtedly, if they somehow get this thing to move off of this, they're going to move this up and they're going to pull the same move
A third time.
a third time. It's going to turn into a reversal. Now, I know we're just talking about price, but I'm trying to get you guys to understand my thoughts when I'm telling you guys things, right? I'm trying to show you guys kind of like when I go through charts, I don't just go draw a couple lines, yada, yada. I'm looking at every possibility, right? And I'm like, okay, where has this occurred before? Well, it occurred here. It occurred here. And really, we're at a similar structure here to where they could push price out, make that top like they have previously, and then hold it here for a couple months and drop it. And whenever they make this move, they end up forming lower lows. Okay. Lower low here, price pumps up, lower low here. Now, if they move back up again, I would fully expect another lower low. Do you see how the game's played?
Then you can draw that nice trend line.
Yeah, it's beautiful on the trend. It is beautiful on the trend. And you want me to show you something even more crazy? Pretty crazy, right? So
Lines are up.
tell me it doesn't line up.
Lines right up.
I'm just telling you guys, be cautious. Everybody's looking at this trend like, oh yeah, broke trend, look. They're going like this. Maybe like this, whatever, right? Like, oh, look, it's a breakout. What do you see right there? Just past the breakout. You guys see how this occurs? Yes, it's a falling wedge. I get that 100%. I agree with that. But this thing could be looking to do something even more crazy than what people think it's going to do. And maybe this wasn't the true trend, and maybe the trend's a little bit higher. But again, that's all speculation. I don't want to get into speculation right now. I just want to understand the moves, right? So what else helped me identify this? Again, when we move into these moves, I like to typically use the weekly. They look, or not the weekly, sorry. Yeah, the weekly typically, but the daily, the weekly, all these look great. Why? Round top, reversal pattern, round top. And if you notice, the top of the round is up here, right? It's in the middle of the move. And then you got the structure right here, where once price breaks this lower structure, it has no chance of coming back up. It's going to drop. It's going to be a flush out move. You've already broken all structure. Your structure was built here. This is why when people are calling, oh, 30K is going to hold. 30K is going to hold. It's not going to get below 30K. It 100% got below 30K multiple times. Right here, all through here, got below 30K. And people are like, you better buy here. You better buy here. And you got a little bit of a round bottom. And then that turns into a distribution zone that drops further. So round bottoms and round tops are key. I typically like to use the weekly and monthly for these. I think they work the best. And you can see right here, beautiful round top, bottom, round top. Now let's identify round top. Let's identify it. There's not really as much round bottom here as there is price building short. When you see price building short, you're looking for reverse, right? So round top, I want you guys to really pay attention to here. Up, 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 right? Down. Now look over here. Similar, right? How can we identify this round top? Not only do we have the nice price, what are you seeing right here? What are you guys seeing right here? Doesn't tell me, what do you guys think this is right here? What shape? What shape is this?
W.
Just that
Head
part.
and shoulders,
It's,
curve.
it's accumulation, but I see a W, retreat, and then up.
You see a curve,
Right.
right? So if you look here, whenever you start to see price action curve, expect a pullback. Expect 100% expect a pullback. I'm telling you guys this right now because I want you to understand this in your head. Never ignore a rounding top. Don't look at the 4 hour. Don't look at the 3 hour. Don't look at the 8 hour. Don't look at the daily. Expect a massive pullback on the daily, weekly, monthly when you start to see the price action curve. Curving is a bad sign. It's telling you you are getting sellers, 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 sellers. And not only are you getting sellers, the candles are getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller as it goes up. That is a weight pushing on the markets to force price down. This means that so much profit was gained that profit taking is likely to occur. All right. You could have taken profit here, 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 all the way up from basically 45K up, and you could have gotten back in cheaper. That's all there is. And at the end of the day, that's all it is. And where did price go back to retest? Where did it go back to retest? It went back to retest previous high. Look. Can't make it up, guys. It's literally all there in the charts. It's all there in the charts. What do we see right here? What's going on here? Looks like a pretty round top to me, right? Now, one thing you never want to see, and this is what I was anticipating with BTC at 25K, is you never want to see this. Never want to see that. Why don't you want to see that? Anybody?
Following trend.
It's following trend, but it's following a bearish trend. You're probably like, what do you mean it's up? No, it rounded here and heavier profit taking is occurring here. Look, you got 1, 2, 3 pushes high, distribution. Over here, 1, 2, 3 strong pushes high, distribution. Look at the candle pattern formation. 3 push high, distribution. 3 push high, distribution. Over here, 1, 2, 3 push high, distribution. That's it. That's all it is. You've reached the top of the market. You are repeating the same pattern over and over and over again up here. This whole area up here is a distribution zone on a bigger scale. They are distributing to you. So if this whole area is distribution, where does price need to go? Well, it needs to go below distribution. Anywhere's below here. And where did it go?
Wow.
It went below. And what's it doing right now? What is it doing right now? It's trying to retest the higher distribution zone. This is a solid ceiling on the market. I'm trying to get you guys to think expansively, right? Like think outside of the box here. Don't think about this from a small scale scenario. Think about it from a bigger scale scenario. What is the intention here? It is to get back to that distribution zone. But that distribution zone doesn't go to 30K. It goes to 28. It goes to right here. This is where it all begins. This is where it all supported. This was the lowest price of this whole distribution zone. Without QE, us getting back into this distribution zone, again, it's a distribution zone, is unlikely. So if we come up and hit that distribution zone, a deflection is a very good likeliness here to form lower lows. And if you look at price at where that deflection would fall, it could fall here, or it could come down and meet our previous price action. This is why you can't get too hyped here. You just can't. Cannot. Not with shit coins, not with altcoins, not with Bitcoin. You can nibble. You can nibble. You can play the price action. You can bid. Right? There's room to bid. But risk to reward, you always need to understand your risk to reward, right? And when we look at it from a risk to reward standpoint, I'm looking at this thing as a short. Again, I'm going to show you guys how to use this properly. So now that we know there's a solid distribution zone up here, right? The likeliness of getting into that distribution, for me at least, and it may be different for some of you, is unlikely. The likeliness of us getting to that distribution zone is likely. Let me see here. Hold on one second. Let me find it. Which one is this one? Fib retracement. Long position. I'm looking for short. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna notate it this time so I don't do that again. Yeah, here we go. All right, short. Short is on now. All right, so you have to look at it from a risk to reward standpoint. And if I think my deflection zone is 28K, again, that's your risk to reward short. So your risk is this much. Your reward is this much. And this would be my bid long if I were looking for a long risk to reward. If you guys just put this up every time, look at your zones and look at it from a long perspective to a short perspective, and stop listening to YouTubers, stop listening to Twitter, CT Twitter, unless they're giving you educational information, aka macro data. I like to listen to that a lot. Understand your possibilities of your low, possibilities based on order blocks, based on fair value gaps, based on real things, right? Not bullshit, not me just hoping price will go down. Based on those things, risk to reward, right? Here's your reward if you're long. Here's your reward if you're short. Here's your risk if you're short. Here's your risk if you're long. Does all that make sense? Or am I just talking gibberish to any of you? I mean, feel free, man. Like, even if you guys are new, like, chime in, let me know. I can explain better if I'm not doing a very good job at it.
No, that makes sense because you're so close to where the other support was, right? Way back in the bottom of that M. right? So, but based on you're seeing it hit that resistance and then drop way down, like as your yellow, the yellow line you made.
It all
Is
won't
that-
happen in a day, though. It all will not happen in a day. Look how
But you're-
long it took for this to play out.
But you're confident that it won't break that resistance. Is that because of the stochastic?
Many factors. So stochastic RSI, I think, will be topped around here. Not to mention, again, this is a distribution zone. A distribution zone only works well in a QE environment, in my opinion. So you can break. Now, keep in mind, I do want you guys to understand. I think there will be higher highs. I want you guys to also understand that you can break through distribution zones. So, and that's typically what they're trying to do, right? So like over here, for instance, this was our distribution zone, our high distribution zone. Look, you can see it plain as day right here. And this is what a lot of people are anticipating price will come out to try to retest this lower position. I'm bidding a little higher than that, but that's just because I want to make sure I don't miss. But again, that's me trying to catch a bottom, and that's never a safe position to take. So I just want you guys to understand that too. But you've got this retest here, right? This is a strong retest. You see price break down and then come back for that retest. And then you see price break down again. So price can bid a little higher, maybe, right? Could always happen. We have to continue to see. If that were to happen, I would expect it to follow this trend. Why would I expect it to follow that trend? Because if price breaks out, then breaks back down and hits this trend and starts to wheedle here, there's a good chance that price might have bottomed. Good chance of that at that point. Doesn't mean altcoins have bottomed necessarily, because a lot of them have pumped 9x, 10x, 6x, whatever's, right? And that liquidity will come back out to flow back into Bitcoin, possibly Ethereum. You got to also keep in mind, if you guys are heavy in ETH, I want you guys to keep this in the back of your head. Those unlocks come next month for Ethereum. So all that staked Ethereum can be unlocked in March. Just keep that in the back of your head if you're really bullish on ETH. Again, this is where price action had its biggest resistance, came down, came back up. We basically bottomed the second time, 38.14. Over here, you hit what, 33,200? So you were only 600 off the bottom. If price were to get, come back down and double bottom, maybe come a little bit higher, you'll probably be like 17.9, 18. Right? If it hovers around that price, once price rejects at 30, that would be a massive correction. And at that point, I would take this as like, okay, maybe it's holding. But I don't expect price to go like this. I want you guys to understand that. Like, people doing shit like this are just dumb. Like, and it makes no logical sense. If price starts moving the other way, I'll give you a logical scenario of how that would look. So we have our distribution zone high, right? And we drew this line right here. And that could always angle a couple different ways, but we'll just go with that. We'll say price breaks out, price hits low, price breaks out, price hits low. What do we see in form here?
Sending wedge.
An ascending wedge, right? And if we catch us ascending wedge, definitely price will break out, I think, based on price, right? You got strong building momentum on higher time frames, and that would be a breakout, right, into 2024, 2025. So yes, that would definitely be a possibility. Another one is too, price breaks down, pulls back up. You can always catch a bid short based on some crazy news. So again, think about this stuff. Go ahead.
I was going to ask, Will, when you're building your risk to reward, right there on the short trend, are you putting your stop losses at the end of that, or are you putting it slightly above it?
You always want to be at the top end of it. So like if you're gonna risk to reward here, you need your stop to be above basically 29.7, right? 29.8.
You want it to break out.
Yeah, you want it to really kind of break through that zone before you take an attempt that price is basically gonna move against you.
Gotcha.
So And this again, this is a risk to reward, guys. Like you got to understand your risk to reward, because if you don't understand your risk to reward, this is your portfolio 8/10 of the way down, right? If this moves against you, this is your portfolio 1/10 of the way down, maybe 2/10 of the way down. If it moves against you, if you never risk, you'll never see reward. That's how this market works. And you may be like, well, then this isn't for me. There's always the buy and hold strategy, but again, the buy and hold strategy does not include buying once price has moved. It is buying before price moves. And you may be like, well, I can't read charts, yada, yada, yada. Learn. That's all I can tell you guys. Look, there are plenty of things in an accumulation phase that look great. Tons of them. I think Lucid, Rivian, I talk about those guys, those on the regular. Look. Again, they have partnerships with Amazon. Can they come back down and tap this bottom again? Yeah. But I want you to understand the move here. Look, I'm going to show you a really simple move. Actually, you guys show me. You guys tell me. What do you see here on this chart? What do you see?
Yeah, it's a downtrend.
Downtrend. Okay.
They
What else
got
can you identify?
accumulation.
Accumulation? Wait,
Okay. How are you identifying accumulation?
because it's down, I'm looking, it's because it's below the, it's at the support line. All right?
No, it didn't hit the support. We're looking
I
at
mean,
the, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
No, I was saying that blue, one candle where the wick went down, it didn't hit the support line and then retraced back up.
Yeah. It rejected off of here, but yeah. So it didn't make it all the way up to its price target. It also didn't make it. It also broke through the wick here, right? But I wouldn't say this is necessarily in an accumulation based off the chart. I would say it's an accumulation based off other things, though. What would those other things you think be?
The distributing.
This was a distribution. This was a distribution.
The smaller one, I mean.
This could be, yeah. This is definitely a distribution too, a smaller distribution. But so bigger time frame, this could be a distribution. But I want you to look at the chart and look at the things I have on this chart with the chart. We got what going on here?
A downward trend.
Downtrend?
The bullish
Yep.
divergence with the RSI.
There you go. Somebody got it. Medardo got it. On the RSI. There you go. Beautiful, beautiful thing. Pay attention to when I got everything open. I'm telling you guys to look at all things. This is a really good looking bullish div. Does it mean price can't go lower? Sure, it can. But this to me is, look, we went below the 30, hung below the 30, broke out really hard. And look, the distribution is apparent on the chart and on the RSI. Hit the RSI on the what? What price did we bounce off of? Or what number here?
It looks like the 30, wait, the 50 right there.
Nope, right here, right where I got my mouse. What is that?
Oh,
That's
the
the 30.
30.
Yep. We bounced right off the 30, creating this bullish div. This is a higher low against a lower low. Bullish div on Rivian. This is one of the better looking stocks. So when I start to see these occur, what I typically try to do is I try to figure out my accumulation zone. And it's kind of crazy. I do my best to draw the best circle I can, which I'm not the best circle drawer in the world, but I try to do it something like this, right? I want to kind of drag that low for a little bit, because typically when you move into a good accumulation zone, you can go deeper, right? Obviously this would be deeper, but you start to roll out of that as this bullish div starts to play out. So really what you're doing on a bigger time frame, and I'm not saying Rivian's going to go to $5,000, guys. Don't get what I'm saying twisted at all. what I'm saying is that this could be the low of that zone as Rivian over time accumulates higher and higher and higher. If you're bullish on Rivian, right? So that's the way you have to be. Again, this is a zoom out approach. So really, with Rivian, for me, these prices look great. And again, they have the partnership with Amazon. I have a lot of fundamentals to back my thesis on the chart too, right? The money on the books, the people invested with them, the people they're partnered with, and I have the fundamentals on the charts telling me the same thing. So when you take a zoom out approach, this looks like the buy of a century. I could tell you guys this, look. Everybody here. Yeah, let's do this. Everybody here is laughing at people buying Tesla. And I want you to understand, what do you see right here?
Accumulation,
Is that what that is?
Distribution.
It's a distribution zone.
distribution,
Right.
sorry.
What do you see right here?
Accumulation.
Yeah, you're seeing a slow accumulation to the high, a breakout, and a distribution.
Mm-hmm.
And then as price moves along, all right, speed this up a little more. What did we see right there? What did we see right there? We saw a break of that distribution zone. Now, will price reject back off it? Sure. But we saw a break. That looks good. Now, what am I basing the break off of? The lowest high on the right side of the distribution. The lowest high on the right side of the distribution. So this is the higher high. This is the higher high, low, higher high, and then low high, right? So the last low high against price comes down, hits a 200 MA, and then bounces up, breaks the distribution zone, and now we should be turning into an accumulation. I wish this thing would go faster. All right, but you guys get the point here, right? Like I would go through this, but it's gonna take forever. Let's just cancel that. So basically, based off the price, came through, broke the distribution. Then what did it do? It created a second one, right? And then that then turned up. When did it turn up? Why did it turn up there? Right here.
Hit the support.
Support. But why this support?
And last low.
It
The
hit
last
it
low.
twice.
The last
last
low.
low.
The last low. So it basically came back to retest the last low before price took off and went. So you gotta pay attention to price in many different ways, right? So distributions can be a little tricky too. Because what are we seeing here on this trend? Test, retest, test. Now, do you see how many different ways I just looked at this? Did I go, oh, bullish div up? Or did I just evaluate this from 3 or 4 different directions? Multiple angles. Exactly, guys. That's what I'm trying to teach you guys. Look, you have to understand don't ever get a bullish thesis. Don't ever get a bearish thesis based off of one strategy. Come into the charts, look at it from any way. Because if I just wanted to be bearish on this, I would look at distribution, bounce up, distribution again. So if price were to break down from here, where would my invalidation point be? Anybody?
That same low from the
It'd be here.
previous.
That would be my invalidation. Why would that be my invalidation?
Trend.
Because if this were to roll over from a bigger perspective, it wouldn't breach this angle. Would not breach at all. It would have
Hey, Will.
rejected here, rolled it back over again. And then this would have turned into a massive distribution to the lows again. But it invalidated. Again, this is why you always have to have an invalidation thesis to whatever you're looking at. Okay. You need a point where you're like, all right, my move is invalidated. Did I catch the low? No. Can I bid here? Yes. Why can I bid here? Because price tends, once that invalidation has been made, price tends to always come back and retest the previous support. AKA was resistance, now support. So it broke out of there, invalidated my move, came back, gave me a second opportunity to get back in at 24, and then ran all the way up to 427. So did I have to buy here? Or could I just simply wait for the retest? Wait for the retest. And I know I hear this thesis all the time. And I want you guys to understand this. Oh, that happened in COVID. It's a black swan event, yada, yada. That'll never happen again. So these things won't happen because there won't be another COVID. There's always something. It could be COVID.com, housing market crisis, car industry goes under. Like, it's always something that pulls price back to the previous high, and you get another entry to get in before the price takes off without you. Did you get in at the bottom? No. Did you still make massive gains? Yes. But are you safer playing it this way than trying to call bottoms? I think so, yes. Because you are betting risk on your current reward, hard-earned money, right? You go to your work, you have a job, you make that money, you don't want to lose it. Losing it is setting in a loss trade for years and years and years to come, which can definitely happen. If Tesla would have failed here and this would have rolled over to the lows, these people, I guarantee you, would be sitting here for a solid 10 years before this thing came back up. That's a long time to sit and draw down on liquidity. That means not only did you not beat inflation, you're probably 10 times under what inflation is. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
This is why I always tell people to be cautious in these markets, because you don't want unnecessary drawdown. You don't know what the next event's going to be. Neither do I. I don't either. But price action will tell you where price will go. Events are irrelevant. People always say, oh, it's COVID, it's a housing market. No, liquidity needed to be rebalanced. Period. Price went massively up, got overly bullish, and that needed to be rebalanced. And that's exactly what happened. Why do you guys think price need to be rebalanced here?
Oversold? No way.
It's just overbought like
Overbought.
crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's so overbought that for the market maker to continue to sell you the stock that you're so bullish on, they need to take profit and push prices lower so they can accumulate more aka what continues the push, so they are able to keep selling to you.
Is that why the RSI is so high up above at that point? See how the RSI is up over the 8?
Yep,
over
it just
80?
stays up
Is
here.
that why? Okay.
Yep. So this is what we call basically a short squeeze. This is a short squeeze from hell, believe me. Because what they've done is they've created enough bullish momentum and liquidity that the market maker themselves has to buy back in at the lows to be able to continue to sell. This is what we call momentum trading, right? You're trading on momentum. Sorry, give me a second. Ooh, throat was a little dry. So momentum trading is price moving up, shifting back, hitting support, and the momentum keeps going. But at the same time, we have to keep in mind, we had an accumulation stage, but that accumulation stage, look how long it took. Look at how long this accumulation took. This is a weak accumulation. It's like a half moon. So I'm showing you in this chart the opposite of what I'm telling you, because I want you to know it can occur in both ways, right? I tell you to look for accumulation distribution zones, but just like over here, we had a distribution breakout, right? Over here, we had an accumulation breakdown. But you have to be able to identify how these things are working at the end of the day. So when we get a long drawn out accumulation and the breakout looks weak, typically that's just going to turn into a distribution and break to the downside. Now, why is Tesla, to me, still currently in a distribution? Well, look at it. Does that not look like a distribution?
Wait, show that again. You said a distribution. Show that where you put the arrow at again. Oh, right there.
All the way down.
Okay.
What are we noticing here?
Lower lows
Are these lows?
or lower highs, sorry.
Lower highs, all the way down the chart. All the way down the chart, lower highs. You got to understand price. You got to understand price. This is why when people go, let me show you. And I can't stand people that go like dailies on stocks. Dailies on stocks is like the 1 hour on crypto. They go like this, and they're like, accumulation, look. Right? And this is what people say on Twitter. Like, this is why crypto Twitter is so toxic. Hey, look, accumulation, look, we got above the previous high. We're holding support here. We're going to break out to the moon. But when you zoom out and you put it on the weekly, monthly, that's not at all what's happening here. It's just not. What happened here for this flush? What happened here for this pump? You guys notice that? You guys see that? Look, let me clear my chart for a second. Let me show you something. So here's the pump right here, right? Right through there. Here's the dump right through there. What do you see right there? I see a retest of the low and a bounce off liquidity. That's it. And you could already see it starting to roll, right? And that's why I called this extra early. Called this one extra early. Called that 208. I said, I'm out. 208. I'm out. Sold my bag. This is going to roll back down. And a lot of people are looking to catch a bid where? They're trying to catch a bid here, right? They're looking for here. And I think I've seen some people call for 140. And they're calling for 140 because of the gap, right? There's a gap in here. I believe on the day, yep, daily. So the daily gap is right in here, which does make sense. Typically, stocks do come back to fill gaps, so I do agree with that. But if you look at it from an overall perspective, if we break into that gap, we've violated the liquidity here, right? And if you violate the liquidity, we've talked about this many times, many times. Once you violate and go into the previous liquidity, aka into here, if price closes in here, you'll probably come down to the low of that liquidity. And typically that liquidity doesn't hold and you end up going lower to the next liquidity zone, which for the next liquidity zone, you're going to catch bids here. And you have a good chance of catching bids here. And again, you got more gaps below. If you come over more, you got plenty of gaps here and you got a nice gap all the way down to here. And that's sitting right in here. This is where a lot of people are looking to bid too. They're looking to bid the 40s. I ideally do have some positions sitting there just in case it touches it. But hey, maybe it takes off without me at the end of the day. Okay, gap fill, and then you got a gap up here. A lot of people are seeing this thing as starting to roll over. When you look at this from a bigger perspective, like even though you had this accumulation, what are you seeing?
It's a big round top headed down.
Pretty big round top. Again, I'm not trying to be ultra bear here. I'm just trying to be realistic. I do think 100%. Look, I want you guys to understand this too. I think this was a flush. I do. But that's what scares me, right? And maybe I'm being overly bearish with it, but I think there's another flush coming. If another flush comes in Tesla can go a lot deeper than this move. Right? If we were to take another flush down from here, I would anticipate us being, you know, all the way down here in the 60s. If we catch another flush. At the end of the day, it's all about how the market feels about it and what they're willing to bid. And that's usually the argument from the bull side is like, well, it's about the market. The market's willing to buy it at that price. They're willing to buy it at that price. It's like, yeah, sure. We can agree with that thesis, but what happens when the market runs out of money? The market's never going to run out of money. Retail will. You have to think about it like this. Most average investors in stocks, they have, I want you guys to think about this from this perspective. They have probably $200 to $300 a paycheck to put into stocks. And if they're continually contributing, they can't buy a single stock that's maybe over $150 because they won't get enough of it, right? They get like one stock for all their money that they can put into stocks. So this is the billions that come in all combined, right? $200, $300 per person, so on and so forth per paycheck. And that's what creates that daily volume of billions per day or whatever. And when you think about it from that perspective, how are they going to buy these higher price stocks? Well, to get a whole one, it's almost impossible unless you go through something like Robinhood or something. And most people that are traditionally trading are not looking to go through Robinhood. You might have kids that are, but like adults and stuff are looking for professional platforms like TD Ameritrade and, you know, Webull and stuff like that. And when you look at platforms like that, those platforms typically will only let you buy the stock if you can buy the whole thing. So when you look at it from that perspective, this is typically why they do stock splits. But that's what I mean by like fair price. Like you're not going to catch bids above certain prices. There's just not enough liquidity to flow into from retail, at least, right? You need retail to buy at the end of the day. Institutions are not fighting other institutions. They're trying. Institutions' whole intention is to take from retail and distribute amongst themselves. So if retail can't put bids in at certain prices, either the stock's got to get split to go lower or the price has to drop. And in this environment, they already did a stock split. They can't do another one anytime soon. So because of that, I can't see Tesla bidding higher. I can only see Tesla bidding lower based on that thesis alone. But this is just me looking at from, you know, same way you guys are looking at it from an investment standpoint. And like same thing with Microsoft, Google. This is why you're seeing Google like bid its lows pretty hard, right? Like people are buying Google actively, I think, in certain ranges, but and it's more of these lower ranges because they can afford it. But nobody's bidding Google up here at like 150, 170. Like not right now, at least, right? Like we had this drop, consolidation low, and this doesn't have to stop. They can do another drop, consolidation low. We can already see the rejection here. Like everybody thought it was a breakout. Look at that wick. Look at that wick. No breakout there. Literally fell right back below resistance. I show this to you guys daily. I show this to people every single day. Oh, look, Google pump. Look, it broke out. We're going to break out, guys. We're going to break out. And people are buying here. And this is the mentality I want you guys to get out of your head. I want you to get out of the mentality of buying here. Look, if you're looking at big Google, now is the time to big Google. Why? Anybody?
Accumulation. Is it
The round bottom.
Oh yeah.
We do have a nice round. I won't lie with that. I won't lie about that. I want you guys to look at it from this perspective. Where are we at?
Sideways.
One sideways accumulation.
Okay.
Bottom of the range.
Bottom of the range. You said it. That is how you think. Don't think breakout buy. Think bottom of the range buy. High end of the range sell.
Oh, because of the RSI. It's
Just because
below.
of price. You don't even need the RSI.
Price.
Yeah, just because of price. So the RSI will dictate, hey, can it go lower? Right? Do we have room for another leg? On the RSI, it looks like we do have room for another leg, right? We can hit that 30. And if we hit that 30, that's another drop. But if you're looking to big Google, and let's say you DCA down, we'll just call you guys DCAers. We won't even call you traders. You're DCAer. Look. Look. Only buy the lows. Drop. Only buy the lows. Drop. Only buy the lows. Drop. Only buy. You guys seen this? You guys understanding this better?
Yep. I should've
Only bid the lows.
Shit.
This is what I want you guys to understand. And I know it's hard to take in because you're like, man, it's not bullish. It's scary. It's scary here. It is. 100% it's scary. But you don't buy the highs, guys. Like it's not feasible. Even if you're a DCA or like people, oh, you should buy now. You're going to miss out. Like it's just stupid. It's stupid conversation. Look, if price drops again, only buy the lows. Google is great. What is Google doing here? How do you get from one floor to another? What do you take? If you're in a building, you're going from one floor to another, what do you take?
Stairs.
You take the stairs. What is Google doing?
It's taking the stairs down.
It's stair stepping down. Buy the lows of the stairs. This is one of the easier ones to play. It's been the easiest one all year. And I can't explain it to you guys how much you can make literally just high, low, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. It blows my mind. And where did it reject? Where did it reject right here? On stair number 2. Came up, touched stair number 2, came back down. And now it's at the bottom end of the range. Again, if you're looking to bid, this is where you bid. Don't ask, hey, Google's up, should I buy at 120? Don't ask that. I'm not going to respond to you guys with those kind of questions. I want you guys to think logically from now on. I know I'm the voice of reason a lot of the time, but you guys have to be the voice of reason to yourselves. Again, high end of the range bid, low end of the range bid. I definitely think Adobe's coming down and hitting this low at 254 because the liquidity is here. We've already broken into the liquidity zone. I'm not touching Adobe till it does that. Now, let's say some of you feel differently. You feel like this is low end of the range, right? Right here where it hit. Then this is where you buy. But buying here and buying here isn't that much of a difference. So if you feel like you got to get in here, then get in here. I'm just telling you guys, like, this is how you have to think. Don't bid here, guys. Like, don't bid breakouts. It's just dumb. Look, literal perfect rejection on a breakout. Perfect. Look at perfect rejection on the breakout. And I guarantee you people took this play thinking it was going to go. Look, it got above, closed above, and then fell. That's the market environment we're in. You're not going to make millions right now, guys, unless you're leveraging. Unless you're, and you got to be a good, look, I will tell you guys, in a bear market, you have to be a good trader. You have to be. There's no other way about it. You will lose a lot of money if you don't. And I don't want to see you guys lose money. Definitely don't play the leverage game if you don't know what you're doing. Right now, the best thing to do, buy and sell if you get the opportunities. That's good. So it's going to be spot positions as opposed to leverage positions, which aren't going to be as lucrative in the bear market because you're playing the highs, and the highs aren't as lucrative as the lows, as the drops. That's why downturns make millionaires just as much as upturns make millionaires. Because if you can read the market well, you can make a lot of money on the way down. And then so on and so forth. If you can read the market really well going up, I don't even think you need to read the market going up. You can literally just buy things and then you're going to exponentials. So ideally, this is kind of like what I'm looking for Adobe. I think somebody brought up VRA, right? Where did VRA reject, guys?
The former support or last support.
Remember when I drew this out before this played? And I said the bid's here? Look at that. Look at it. Now, did I just say the bid's here based on this line? What else did I do? I drew based off these two angles right here and where price was pumping. And it came back up and hit. And the second it hit, it bid short again. And I think this will continue because it's a hammer, right? If this closes in this position on the monthly in 3 days, it's going to come back down. As you can see right here, what I drew out. A bid high into a bid low, and then a move out. That's my expectations for VRA. I think they're going to double bottom into a W here. It's going to be price out.
Hey, well, sorry, I stepped away when you're saying it, but like 10, 15 minutes ago, you're saying it could be the buy of the century or something. You're talking about Rivian right there?
Oh shoot, I was talking to myself. My bad. Yeah. So I want you guys to understand. Like, I'm not promoting Rivian specifically. Okay. I'm not an all-in person on anything. I'm a logical thinker, and I think of things in dollars and not innovation, right? And innovation becomes part of that, obviously, right? Because it's what can bring the hype. But dollar signs is what you're here to achieve. So when I look to invest, I'm looking to make exponentials on my investments. So I'm looking to invest in good things that I think, are possible good competitors to previous hype cycles. So if I were to look at meme coins, for instance, right? I'm not looking at Shiba. I'm not looking at Doge. I'm looking at the next meme coin. If I'm looking at car companies, I'm not looking at Tesla. I'm not looking at Ford or GM. I'm looking at new car companies. It's all about driving new innovation as opposed to driving old. And driving old is not a way to build wealth. Driving new and taking risk is a way to build wealth. And I don't mean risk by going out and betting on BBBY. I think that's stupid. But I mean, you could bid it just as a gamble, but like, I think it's dumb to try and bet long-term on BBBY. I think it's a failed business model. So what I want you guys to understand at the end of the day is I'm not specifically promoting anything specifically. I'm just seeing certain aspects of certain things, so I'm buying them. And I think that they will be good long-term / midterm return type scenarios. I do keep a semi-hodl portfolio. So I keep some things that I just accumulate because I think that over time they will create wealth. And I think that's smart to do. But I do trade a lot, and I have a lot of cash, right? A lot of cash to to get into certain plays. When I say a lot, like it's just, you know, my investment or not my investment, my trading portion of my portfolio. So I've told you guys this before, like you should have a trading, you should have some stuff that you're just looking to DCA into and hold. And really, again, it's all about bidding lows as opposed to bidding highs. That's what it is at the end of the day. And Rivian, to me, again, not promoting this guy's like, oh, look at Rivian. It's low, right? It's low. It's bidding low. It's got strength pulling against it. If I declined to play on this, it would be the same thing as if I declined to play this move on Bitcoin, right? Because when I told you guys about this move on Bitcoin, and I said, hey, I'm looking to buy alts. And honestly, I won't lie. I didn't know for a fact if alts would actually run. I just saw the bullish div on Bitcoin. And I was like, okay, market runs, alts will probably run. It was just, you know, kind of more of a educated guess based on history as opposed to actually seeing it in all the alts that I was looking at. So I looked for alts that looked solid against the bullish div that was forming on Bitcoin, and I started accumulating alts. So I was like, hey guys, I'm buying Paid, I'm buying Quick, I'm buying this. And Quick did really well. Definitely equalized out my portfolio really nicely. And so did Shop. Like I think I pulled a 9x off on Shop and went from 1 penny to 9 cents. So again, think of those as like penny stocks. They're never good long-term investments, guys. Anything that's like a penny stock type trade, those investments, if you don't take the liquidity when it comes, they can literally go to zero. So you have to take the liquidity when it comes and not try to bid higher and not listen to people's bullshit on how it's going to be the next innovation, you know, that's going to cure cancer or some stupid shit like people always say. And I hate to be so blunt about this. It's just, you know, there's so much, and I don't want to use the word misinformation, but I hate that word, but there's so much BS in the space that people mislead people all the time in crypto Twitter. They mislead them with their intentions. Like I'll tell you this, look, I think most of the people, especially large investors and firms that say they're bullish on Bitcoin are lying to your face. 100% think they're lying to your face. Why do I think they're lying to you?
Views.
Yeah, they're looking to capture attention. They know the word Bitcoin captures attention. When they say, I'm looking to hold Bitcoin for the next 10, 20 years, it's going to be this and that. No, they don't give a shit about that. I guarantee you the next bull market, if Bitcoin goes to 100K, they're going to dump their entire bag. If not sooner.
Hey,
Like,
can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what is the main difference between like those trades where you did like 9x and stuff like that? What is the main differentiating factor between those and the other ones where you say take profits when it's like on 150% or whatever? Like how does it get to 9x before you take profits, or like what exactly are you looking at them?
Liquidity.
Liquidity is the
We talked about support, resistance, and momentum.
right.
You can get clear invalidations. Like my resistances were broken. So because they flew through my resistance so fast, I knew they were going to come back for a retest and go higher. So then you had to bid the next resistance. And if they go higher, you got to bid the next resistance. And then once you start to see that top out pattern, that the little round top starting to form, once you start to see that form, then you know, okay, I'm out.
Right.
And usually that will occur at a resistance. They have to blow through a resistance and I've told you guys this many times. They have to blow through resistance to make it a confirmed move that they're going to go higher. And many things did that, right? Like Bitcoin. Look, I'll show you the resistance here. Where's the resistance? Right there, right? Did they blow through resistance here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right there at 18. Yeah.
Blew it out of the water. Completely blew it up, right? Resistance gone. And then what did they do? What did they do here? They hesitated, right? Pulled back. And then what did they do?
break.
They blew
went
through
on.
resistance again. And then what they do? Came
Pulled
back, retested resistance, and then what they do? Did they blow through resistance?
No.
What they do? They stopped.
They stopped.
They started distributing. You could really
Okay.
see it over here, to be honest with you. And that's how I knew that they were going to stop here, because the resistance began before we even touched the resistance. Look close. They started resisting. If they would have hit the resistance, pulled back and took off and broke through, that is a move that you take, right? So because they didn't do that, they pulled back from resistance before they even hit resistance, and then came up and resisted again at the higher zone right here. Look, they did the same thing right here. Look, they pulled back from resistance, came back, and then came back up to resistance, and then did what? Fell over. That's why you have to be cautious here. This could just be another move to go low. You have to, one thing I've taught you guys, and I've told you guys many, many, many times, you have to create exit liquidity. You have to create exit liquidity. I don't care if they sit here and pump this thing and pump this thing. They're not going to break through. Why are they not going to break through? Because for price to go higher, you have to break lower. So this is not a break. This is barely any liquidity being taken. So they are looking to soak people high, aka creating a distribution zone. The retest here does not confirm anything. It doesn't confirm that they're going to break out at all. And then they're going to come back hard. And if they can find support, this will be where they'll push. Now, why is that? It's all about momentum. If a ball is going to bounce 10 feet, can you drop it from your knees and it bounced 10 feet in the air?
No.
If you're just holding the ball and you just drop it from your knees, how high will that probably bounce? Maybe like 6 inches, 2 inches. Now,
Maybe.
if you want the ball to bounce hard, what do? Well, you pull the ball above your head and then slam it down. And then, or sorry, pull it above your head and then slam it down, and then it bounces higher than you. That's momentum trading. Momentum is what you want to see with volatility. When you see momentum, guess what? You're in a good trade. Now upside is for certain. But when price is sitting here, what's it doing? Is it getting stronger?
No.
No, it's getting weaker. The more it tests resistance, the more likely it's going to reject, and not only reject, it's going to exhaust what? It's going to exhaust buyers. And the more they can exhaust buyers here, the deeper they can push price. Because why? Because buyers won't have liquidity to defend price at the lower prices. So you don't want to see, if you want to see Bitcoin go up higher, you don't want to see Bitcoin hover here. You don't want to see it. You want to see Bitcoin pull back, retrace, and move up. That's a healthy move. And then that is what I consider healthy. And then you don't want to see a deflection at 28.6, which I think we would see, right? You want to see it break through 28.6 with momentum, maybe push up to 32, 34. And now you've got momentum to be up here in the heavier distribution zone. Now you've made it out of here. Now you will bid this whole zone. You see how this works? Is anybody confused on that?
Nope.
So this goes beyond, and I'm trying to teach you guys how I think, because this goes beyond me just telling you candles and saying, oh, look at the doji, oh, look at this, oh, look at that. There are certain aspects to a chart that you can identify outside of all the normals, right? Outside of the basics, the doji candles and all that stuff, those are all basic stuff. That's basic information. The round tops, the round bottoms, the momentum moves, like that's advanced. That's what you're looking to get into if you guys are looking to trade. You need to understand momentum. Again, momentum drop into a momentum push. But it wasn't enough drop to create enough push. And all they did here is they equalized the move. Drop, push, equalize the move. Big buyer, distribution. Pull back, big buyer, distribution. Think about it. Now, what time frame am I on? Am I on the 4 hour? Am I on the 1 hour?
No,
The weekly.
On the weekly, guys. Because the bigger plays are on the bigger time frames. The smaller plays are on the smaller time frames. Smaller plays might get me some good scalps. Bigger plays, I can sit in them, go to work each day, and not have to worry about looking at my phone all day whether I got liquidated or not. Because I know the positions of my highs. I mean, you couldn't call this any more perfect than what happened here. Not only did it double top on here, and this was the other confirmation I want to show you guys. I got a topping right on top of my 200 weekly moving average. Bounced right off it. Look. I saw every CT Twitter person sitting there and tweeting, broke through the 200, broke the 200. And I was looking at this and I was like, you guys have no clue what you're talking about.
But it didn't.
That is not a momentum move. That is a peekaboo. Buy up so I can sell to you. That's all that is. And they did it once, twice, might do it a third time. Hey, they might be able to bid this thing a little bit higher, right? And now you got people sitting here looking on CT Twitter. I saw people doing this with a 2 hour. Look, this is insanity to me. This is literally insanity. They were doing this up here on the 2 hour before this drop happened. And they were everybody was showing, even BitBoy was showing people that. What does the 2 hour depict? Anybody? What kind of trading time frame are you looking at trading on a 2 hour?
I never traded 2 hour.
Well, if you're on the 5 minute, how long are you trying to stay in the trade?
Very
5
shortly.
minutes.
In and out.
In and out, right? If you're on a 2 hour, how long are you looking to be in the trade?
2 hours.
2 hours. Because if you go beyond that, you're going to get wrecked. Like you're looking for the momentum. The momentum's here. Boom. Buy. Breakout. Pull back. Buy. Breakout. Pull back. You're obviously selling the highs there too, right? Because you got solid resistance. You got uptrend support, but you're not looking to hold this trade. And then not only did it break down this trade that they were posting everywhere, it fell below the EMA, the 202 hour EMA. So more than likely, we're looking at rejection. You can see anytime it falls below, it comes pretty deep. And really, I'm anticipating them to retest the 20s, if not 19. Now, again, I'm not using 2 hour. I would never tell you guys to use 2 hour because I don't think it makes sense. If you're a scalper, you're using smaller time frames. If you're not a scalper, you're a day trader. Use higher time frames. Look, if I'm looking at daily trade, I'm seeing the distribution going on here, right? I can get in, get out, get in, get out, get in, get out, get in, get out. You got solid support resistance up in this upper zone. And as soon as your trade breaks this low, boom, you're short, right? Price goes down. Now, a lot of people are hoping, and they might pump this back up, right? They might even come back up and retest the high. But it doesn't matter because when you zoom out, it's going to take a while. It's going to take a while. It's not going to happen in a day or two. This is turning into a distribution. I'm just looking for that first lower low. The second I see the lower candle on the right, that's going to confirm my move. I'll take the short. I need a close. I need a close on the weekly, on the right, lower than my previous. Now, one thing I want you guys to understand too, when you're looking at the daily, this is engulfing this. That means price action more than likely is going to come back down to at least here, 21.5, right? It's going to be a shakeout move. Now they may come back up and swing high to retest before they come down, turning that into an information pattern on the daily. Coming over to the weekly, that's what I'm looking for. So remember, when I tell you guys, hey, ignore the wick, look at the body, right? And I tell you guys this all the time. Let me show you a trick that will help you with that, okay? And I thought about this the other day. I was like, man, I should tell these guys about this. So see my candlesticks, right? I want to ignore the wick, pay attention to the body. Let me show you this. If I take price or a line, oh, sorry. Body to body, and you can see these are perfect rejections. Wicks are all over, right? Wicks all over. Now watch. What do you see?
It did not cross at all.
Just change it to a line chart, guys. If you need confirmation on the move, change it to a line chart. And it will knock out all the noise of all the different wicks and show you truly what price action is doing. That's it. Nothing too crazy. You want other confirmation? You can come in and you can use the Heikinashis, right? Heikinashis give bullish, bearish signals. Do I think these are the best to use? Hell no. I think they can get you in a biased mind state, and I think that's not a good thing. So as you can see, very bullish, no red. First hesitation, a little bit more pump, drop. Now we got decently bullish, already got a red candle, moving up to the high. I think this is turning into a distribution. I don't think the momentum is there. I think the stochastic overbought. You got the RSI reaching really hard. Now again, you know, I'm looking for a distribution to a low and then a move higher and then a rejection up in that upper zone we talked about, right? At 28K lows. If we change this back to a line, this is kind of where I'm looking for price to reject. Some people are looking for the 30, which is fine. You could push up to there, right? Line chart lines up with it. Line chart lines up with it. But again, I take this whole area up here as a distribution zone. And I think that starts here. So that's where I'm taking price to. I don't think price goes beyond that position. So now you guys know how to use these differently, right? So you know the line chart will help your bias with the wicks, and the Heikin-Ashi can kind of give you a momentum guide if you're not too good with charts. So green is obviously good, right? And you get, once you start getting red hesitation, the move's starting to topple. It means you're starting to top on the move. Doesn't mean the move can't go higher. Sure, it can go higher, but it's looking to roll over on
Which
these
one
bigger
is that?
time frames. This is the Heikin-Ashi.
The Hakinachi. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Heikin. And then space Ashi, ASHI. Japanese candlesticks. So this right here is your normal candles. This is typically the way I like to trade, is on normal candlestick patterns. You see right here, price get down perfectly. Again, price hit up that perfectly right up here at the highs. And I'm looking for a price to continue to reject in this zone. Because again, it's a momentum game, guys. It's a momentum game, right? You gotta create momentum, bounce, create momentum, bounce, create momentum, bounce. And some of you may be like, well, what about this? What about this? These are bull market one-off scenarios. Even these get toppled eventually. Once you get that first pullback of the bull market, the next move up, you should be looking to get out, right? You get that first pullback right here, next move up, start to topple right here, get out, because the market's getting ready to drop. Same thing over here, get that first move up, pull back, move back up, starting to topple. Already got a white candle here, starting to topple, get out. You just use that mentality too. You can get into a good position every bull market. Do you have to sell the exact top? No. Just stop believing that you have to. If you go into a bull market with 10,000, you turn that into $500,000. I wouldn't retouch the market until it bottomed again. 100%. Not financial advice, but like even if there's still money to be made up here at the highs, I think that's stupid to risk too much capital at high positions in the market. When you are risking capital at these higher ends of positions of the market rather than sitting on it, if you have a long-term perspective on money like I do, again, long-term because I want to retire earlier. If you have a longer-term perspective on money, then you should be looking to create wealth, hold wealth, look for opportunity, better buying opportunities, rebuy, reaccumulate, create wealth, hold wealth, better buying opportunities, get out, wait for those better buying opportunities, create wealth, hold wealth, and just keep on moving the market in that direction. It's a slow drag, guys. I do have a portion I trade, but I have a portion that I'm slowly dragging through this market, bit by bit, and trying to accumulate at better positions to be able to double, triple, quadruple my positions, each time that I remove back in. So that's a longer state of mind state. I know some of you want to be millionaires in a year or two. I can tell you the gains for that in crypto, you got to hit moonshots, and it's just so unlikely that any of us as a whole will hit 10,000 X's, 20,000 X's. I know you guys see it everywhere. This 20,000, 30,000 X. Most of those people got in extremely early, got ahead of the project, research. And this is why I tell you guys to do your research, right, on projects. Because if you catch a gem, you catch a gem. But the only way you're going to catch a gem, and this is stock markets too, the only way you're going to catch a gem is if you're paying attention. If you're always dedicating your time to listening to Twitter and toxicity, I would say in markets, and oh, it's bullish, oh, it's bearish, buy now, don't miss out, FOMO, yada yada. If you're doing that as opposed to reading books and understanding markets, understanding macro, and continuing to develop, then you're wasting your time. Really, in reality, you need to develop your brain in a good way, right? And that good way is not listening to what you want to hear, but listening to both sides of the argument. I always listen to bulls and I listen to bears, regardless of how I feel myself. I want to know each side's thesis. I want to know what their thoughts are. And I don't listen to bullshit. Like Michael Saylor, if people start saying stupid shit like Michael Saylor's buy at 60K, sell your house, like I'm not interested in that. I'm just not interested. It's not worth my time and effort. If you're discussing macro, you're discussing how the Fed can rebalance their portfolio, how they can position themselves against the current trends and so on and so. I'm interested in that. That's interesting conversation. It's developing, right? It helps me understand macro better. It helps me understand micro better. Like those are the conversations you need to be having with people. Also looking at projects, right? Evaluating projects from a long-term standpoint. Like if you guys bring a project to me and you know nothing about it, it's really pointless for me to look at it. Because if you know nothing, I know nothing, what are we going to get out of it? I can tell you what I can see on the surface, but I don't know much about what's going on behind the scenes. So always understand that. Like I've done my research on a lot of things that I'm investing in. I've looked in their background. I've looked at who they're partnered with, and again, I bring up multiple scenarios. And I'm like, dude, these are good looking companies for stocks, and then, good looking cryptos as far as, what they have and what they're developing. And another reason why I'm not like buy Shiba, buy Doge and stupid shit like that. Like I don't tell you guys that stuff because at the end of the day, you can catch a moonshot, but those penny stocks have already moved. That's one thing that people you gotta accept that. I know some people are not willing to accept that they can't make money in those coins. They have already done they've already made millionaires. Those millionaires are out. They're not coming back. And other people aren't going to buy your bags. Like if you're stuck in them, you're stuck in them. That's just how this works. Now, will they move on liquidity? Sure. 100% agree with that. I want you guys to understand that side too. I do understand that price moves on liquidity, but it's just your exponentials are significantly less. They're just so much less. And that's why, like, when I'm looking at things, I look at them rolling the floor and I'm like, okay, what do they have going on? What are they developing? What are they doing? This is a great looking project on surface, and then look at their background, see what I can figure out information wise, and what they're hiding, dirty laundry, if I can find any of that stuff. And if it looks good and it's rolling the floor and it's not worth anything really, I'm in. That's how I am. And I'm a very risky person, but I think I've made some good moves on risk, really good moves. And those of you who were in FS, like I was calling the most ridiculous, unheard of shit coins you ever saw, right? On top of regular coins and everything else. And they were making stupid money. Like it was really dumb. So just understand that, like bull run, I'm all bull. Like I will give you guys the most ridiculous. You'll be like, why would I invest? That looks horrible. And then you'll wake up the next day and that thing will have moved immensely. Because I move on liquidity really well. I'm really good at reading liquidity. So again, it's all about momentum at the end of the day. And that's what I'm trying to teach you guys. I want you guys to understand how liquidity moves. A lot of this discussion today has been around price action and momentum and movement. And that's really what I want you guys to take as this takeaway. It's like, understand your distribution zones, understand your accumulation zones. Don't get a bias. I showed you on Tesla, right? Accumulation distribution could definitely go the other way. You need an invalidation too. My invalidation would have been what? Well, my invalidation would have been price holding above there. But test, finally got above, broke below. If you didn't have a stop here, you're wrecked. You're completely wrecked. And price never came back up to retest. Why? Because it already retested. It retested over here. This is what a classic ABC. Understand, an ABC moves to a higher move. Why does it do this? Why does an ABC do this? Anybody, just general thoughts.
To entice the retailers.
To entice money. You got to entice buyers to sell. That's it at the end of the day. This is a price enticement. You will see this more often in the chart than you think. Way more often than you think. I promise you that. Higher and lower time frames. Look for these ABCs while you guys are running through the charts. 4-hour, daily, weekly, monthly, you will see them. Now, you can see the nice round top here, right? Now, if we move this up to a higher time frame, what do we see right there? Let's move down right there.
A higher high.
A higher high, but did price ever break above resistance
Yep.
and hold? Did it close above resistance?
It just peaked, but it didn't hold
There
and
you go.
didn't close.
This is why you got to use more than one time frame when evaluating a chart. You don't want to get a bias based on one time frame. If we looked at current price right now for Bitcoin, what do we see? Does that look like a boom? Or where are we at? Where are we at on the chart on Bitcoin?
It's at the top of the range again.
At the top of the range, that's it. There's nothing else going on here.
It moved anywhere.
It hasn't gone anywhere. Exactly. We are literally just hitting the high end of the range and sitting here. This is the most dangerous part of the chart to try and bid. If you wanted to bid, you had plenty of opportunity. This is not the place to bid. Now, where would be the place to bid? Well, if price came back, it's a place to bid. That's not hope that it comes back. I'll give you the bullish thesis. If price breaks out and comes back, you can bid the same price you would have taken a chance on a breakout and a potential loss on. Because just like Google's taking the stair steps down, if crypto's looking to move up, it will take the stairs up. Elevator down, stairs up.
It could come down too.
Yeah, it could. It could. But I want to always give you guys an unbiased opinion. So I'm giving you both sides of this situation, right? And it could also do this. And this is something I was discussing with my brother-in-law today. And what I think is going to happen with most markets is this is our first step. This is our second step. and we could bid lower. Could 100% bid lower. Like people saying bottom is in, I don't know about that. We're still below the 50 on the monthly and not looking like we want to bid much higher. Also on the monthly, I want you guys to understand this, and this will be a really dangerous position to take in the chart. If price breaches up to this bid zone up here at this higher area, around 28 to 30K, I can almost bet you the RSI will be tapping the door on the 50 on here. And I always tell you guys, when under the 50, very bearish. Do not bid resistance on the 50, right? So if we're bidding resistance on the 50, more than likely this is going to come back. And it could just be alleviating room on the RSI so they can come deeper. Again, just my perspective on the charts, guys. You guys can have a totally different one. I'm okay with that. I'm always try to be unbiased about charts, but I try to give you my thoughts. And I am still, I'm market neutral kind of. I have been dabbling on buys. I've showed you guys that, and I've made some money on some of them, quite a few of them actually. But at the same time, like I'm just playing the momentum. Money goes up, okay, I'm in, right? But I didn't have to play here. Why did I not have to play here? Because I paid attention to what was forming. Again, bullish div on the charts. Boom. It's just a matter of paying attention. That's all it is, guys. At the end of the day, it's all it is. Just pay attention and understand what? Well, if Bitcoin's got a bullish div, the whole crypto market should move. And if the crypto market's moving, what do I think the stock market's going to do?
Drop.
Oh, actually, I think the stock market moves with crypto.
Well, the S&P, okay.
Yeah, with the S&P, yeah. So that's something we discussed. Now you see the S&P is dumped, probably more than crypto if you think about it money-wise. But what I'm thinking, if the S&P can hold here, great. But do I think the S&P can hold here? No. I'll give you my thesis behind why. Again, for this to be a strong bull uptrend, price has to continue to hold the channel. What did price do here?
It's having less momentum, didn't go all the way up.
It has less momentum and didn't go all the way up. So what I think is forming here is a rising wedge. And I think based off of that, we may be looking for another leg down on the S&P. Whenever you can't get the momentum to follow your channel, the channel's then invalidated. And after the channel's invalidated, you got to look for your next move. For me, the next move is a rising wedge. That means momentum's going to continue to decline. We're going to continue to play this and then drop. Rising wedges typically come down. Understand that. So that's definitely a dangerous position to be looking at, trying to get into the chart. Now, some of you may be like, well, what if it's this way and not that way? Okay, we can go with that. Go with that. We'll go this direction. And this is why I like to look at it from different directions, right? I'm always trying to reevaluate the chart. I'm like, all right, rising wedge looks good in my bias, but I want to make sure I'm looking at it as a whole. Okay, could be a pivot, right? Could definitely be a pivot. But typically with a pivot, if this is a bigger time frame pivot, this will probably be a breakout. So I want to give you guys both perspectives. Price tightens and continues. Now you're probably like, what do you mean? It should break down. We've been down. No. So the reason it will be a breakout is because depending on how price comes into the pivot, is typically how price comes out of the pivot, right? A pivot is a continuation pattern. And so we'd be looking for prices to bid higher if that were the case. So that's my bullish thesis. My bullish thesis is we run into a pivot, price breaks higher. And the crazy part is typically it's your move in to your move down. So like whatever our low is here will be your breakout, and it'll be just a peak above ATH, right? Maybe hit 5,200. And this is what a lot of bulls are actually calling for. They don't explain this part though, because I don't think half of them know what they're talking about. I think they're just literally feeding off of each other and like, oh yeah, 50. They're just throwing out prices, right? So in a bullish thesis, this is why I would be bullish, right? If I were, which I'm not, is I would take it as the move down, the drop, right? Coming into the pennant would be your rise out, which would be your move here. And that would bring the S&P up to 5276. Why do I think this is unlikely? A couple different scenarios. Again, it leads back to the same conversations that people try to constantly debunk, which is bullshit, in my opinion. And that's basically macro, right? I don't think the environment is friendly to this type of move. And I think if we did this, we would cause hyperinflation. And that would be really bad. If you did this, not you, but if the market did this, the market would be in a feeding frenzy of liquidity. And we would have so many buyers of not only stocks, but everything out there, Gucci bags, Louis Vuitton, so on and so forth. Everything's going up. Prices are going to run through the roof. We need the market to cool down right now. So the environment is not friendly to this thesis over this being a ascending or rising wedge, which will be a breakdown pattern. Does that make sense to everybody?
Oh, but if it keeps going up, though, wouldn't the Fed just raise 100 points or whatever, as soon as this?
That's what I'm saying. And that would completely obliterate the market at that point. That'd be a nuke on the market. Market would probably see lower lows. Even from that height, they would probably see lower lows. Because liquidity would just flood out of the market. And that would be like a blow off top, super moon boy thesis, right? I really think that's really moon boyish to say that, but like I gotta give you guys all perspectives at the end of the day. But yeah, that's basically kind of what I wanted to kind of get through today. Again, I'll reiterate that if you guys are feeling biases on the way the chart's reading to you based on wicks and candle bodies, and that gets confusing, whenever that gets confusing, just literally take your chart and switch it over to line, right? That's basically it at the end of the day. And a line will tell you the truth. So if you switch it over to line, you can see where prices hit your high perfectly. Beautiful, beautiful. Never even touched the 200 weekly, by the way. If you're looking at it from the line perspective, never touched the 200 weekly. So it could do another bit higher here too. So another thing here that you got to really pay, if price bounces where we're at, this isn't looking good either, right? So that would be a mini rising wedge here, and price would break down from there. That'd be a pretty big breakdown. And this is why I said that they could try and bid again, try and push prices back up, and will more than likely get met with a rejection here, because price will move down, up, down, and then they'll bid up again and then drop. And then I would look for 20K as kind of my first target. And then my second target would be 19K. If it breaks 19K, I think it's going to go to lower lows. If not, maybe down to 15, hold 15 at a bid, and then drop lower lows. All right. Did you guys have any questions in regards to the discussion we had today, or did you get enough information? Everybody's
That
good?
was good. There was a lot to
That
dig
was
in.
good.
Very good, Will.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, Will,
Yep. Go ahead.
I missed the meeting. I'm gonna watch the recording, but did you talk about Starbucks today?
I didn't. When I'm with Starbucks, I haven't looked at them in a little while.
I know. Last time you said you weren't really sure, but I saw the price was going down.
Oh yeah. I was calling the Head and Shoulders on there over here on the right shoulder. Yeah, it looks good. I like it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I should be in the green. I haven't looked at it in a while, but I got it over here. I cut my position short, and then I got back it up here at 108 on a put on this.
Okay.
I'm looking for Starbucks to get wrecked, because here's the thing: Starbucks is so through the pandemic they opened like, I don't know, 100,000 or some, maybe 14,000. Like, this is a stupid amount of stores in China, and if China starts backing Russia and all these other things, which I'm thinking is going to be the narrative, right? You're going to see a lot of companies that put heavy investments into China get completely obliterated. And that's what I'm looking for Starbucks. I'm looking for them to take some heavy hits to their stock if that ends up happening, due to the amount of investments that they put in China. They put more investments in China through the pandemic and through the downturn of 2022 than they put in America. It's pretty crazy.
Hey, Will, that VLX, the one that you called, I've been watching it and it was up and it goes down. This is a coin where it's sitting low and you can just add to it. It's at the bottom. It can't go no further. Am I right?
DLX, you said?
VLX.
Oh, BLX.
V like a Victor.
Oh, V. Oh, yeah. Yeah, VLX seems to just be chilling. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be really wanting to move lower, which is good. Casper looks good too. I want to tell you guys that. Again, I haven't looked at it in a while, so I don't want to take credit for it. That was Sammy that brought that one up. Yeah, VLX looks pretty solid. Yeah, it's kind of like holding this low really well, which I like. But again, we got to look at this from another perspective too. And I want you guys to understand that I have been buying through here, but just like we just talked about with the other thesis, stare, and stare, right? And we could see another stare down, but we have to understand also that this is the big drop. This is a much smaller drop. And if we see another drop, it probably won't be much bigger, right? Liquidity is so low in this coin that this is kind of the time to buy. For me, I think it's at a good position. It looks like it's starting to round it. Again, it could come deeper, but like this is the place you want to buy it if you're going to buy it at all. Yeah, and then we talked about Samsung too. I told you guys this is going to pull back. Looks like it already is. Just holding trend. This is the ideal place to buy if you guys are looking to get into Samsung. They do have it on TD Ameritrade and a bunch of other ones too. We talked about why with the whole thing with Apple and stuff. I am in XCur. I did take some profits up here. I got in right around in here, 3 to 5 cents. And then so I took some profits up here. I'm looking for this to come back down, way overbought. And I'm looking to accumulate this. Again, we talked about this, got an Apple Store app and a bunch of other stuff. These guys got a lot going on NFT play. ADA, perfect rejection on the low, on the high resistance right here. Support, resist, right? FTM, I was looking for head and shoulders on this. Looks like it's playing out so far. We'll see. I'm looking for this thing to get rocked, right? Come down here, back up, come back down, retest, pop back up. And I'm looking for it to shoulder down and then break down this lower price zone, probably around like 4 or 5 cents. I did want to bring up DXY. Hey, I told you guys, look at that. Look at that breakout. Now, I think this is going to open and come up. I don't think it'll fall back below. That's why I'm kind of bullish here. This is a big push. It's a big push for the dollar, right? And even bulls are running scared right now because of this push for the dollar. I'm looking for a bid up to 107. Again, that's a solid place to take. Why? You got resistance, you got support, right? So that's always what we're looking for at the end of the day is we're looking for a resistance support, a hard resist. And then if we can get a bid up to 107, I'm looking for the dollar to pull back and continue, right? If this ends up playing, I don't really see a head and shoulders on here at all. So that's the most likely play, I think, for the dollar. And if the dollar runs, it's going to be bad on assets. So again, if the dollar continues to run up 107, pull back to 105, 104, and then a move back up to 111. And then if it can break above this range, above 110, I think it's going to break all-time high and just go.
Is that what you call like bullish engulfing?
Yep.
The candles?
Yep. Exactly. And if you look here, we got plenty of room on the R side of run. We just got above the 50. So if they can push a little higher, come back, find support on the 50, aka break through here, hit this 107, come back. They got a lot of room to run on the dollar. And the dollar tends to run high for long periods of time once it starts going bullish. So this could run and run for that 120. Now you guys probably like, where are you getting that 120 price tag from? get it from previous price over here on the right. We hit it over here in 70s. We hit it over here in basically 2000, 2001, and we're in that zone to try and run for it again, right? It's a pretty nasty pullback, but we've had these before where it just pulls back, rips. Look, jumps, pulls back, rips. Pulls back, rips. Pulls back, rips. You can't ignore that with the dollar. The dollar is just one of those things that just goes, pulls back, goes, pulls back, goes, pull back, and it just goes and goes and goes. And when you got that's a bullish dollar. So I want you guys to understand what my thesis is behind a dollar, so you can kind of get what you're looking for here. A lot of people look at it like, oh, yeah, it fell back. Okay, it's falling back the same amount here, and it just ripped right back up higher. Like, you can't ignore the obvious on the charts. The charts tell you everything you need to know when it comes to price action. So keep an eye on that. Let's see here. And a bullish dollar is a bearish asset. Block still consolidating the lows. Again, I still think Block's a bid around $14. Amplified transformational data sharing ETF. Woo, this kind of the upper consolidation area. Really, if Bitcoin bids really low, I could see Woo coming back down to this 10-cent scenario. Litecoin, I mean, I told you guys, literally just topping right here. I think this is gonna roll over on these people that bought in, at these lower positions and these higher positions. I can't see Litecoin really bidding higher. If it does bid higher, it'll be 134, and then it's gonna dump from there. ICP, nice moves on ICP. This has been for me like a strong accumulation. You can see the small candles, small candles, small candles, small candles, and now they're actually starting to hold a floor. So this is looking really good. Gold had its rip, came up, hit, and then fell back, right? If we take this from a line charts perspective, yeah, we basically double topped right here. So that's your rejection zone. Really, I think gold's going to come back down hard. I really do. I don't think gold's going to rip much higher. And if gold doesn't rip higher, Bitcoin shouldn't bid higher either. Typically, they've been moving in tandem. Starbucks play, head and shoulders, what I'm looking for over there. And the Starbucks, I want you guys to understand, you could see the distribution kind of occurring already. You already got the white candle here, blue, white. This is telling you hot month, cold month, hot month, cold month, hot month. When you start seeing that, you're getting into a distribution zone. A bullish move is boom, 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 boom. It's just going, right? These are bullish moves, month after month after month after month after month of just upside. And then you get a couple pullbacks. We got back and forth right up here. This is indecision for me of whether the price wants to go higher. Algorand still in the buy zone. Looking great, 24 cents. Really, I like to buy these lower zones, but could be bought here. QQQs, perfect rejection. Same thing with the Qs as with Google. Look, you got flat top highs, flat top lows. You got an accumulation, distribution zone. Now the question is, do they bid lower or they bid higher? Apple, so to me, I think Apple is in a massive distribution zone up here. I'm looking at it from this perspective, and I think this thing rolls over. I'm looking for Apple to bid, 105, or no, probably even in the 70s, but like right now, currently 105 is kind of my target. But if Apple can't Apple has a good potential to bid these 70s, guys. This is a $2 trillion company. You could see money flowing out of Apple pretty hard. Just as fast as it came in. KDA 110, nothing too crazy. Same thing as Google and all the other ones, just kind of an accumulation distribution zone. Got a macro high up top. Got solid support down low. That has some price history way back when, right around here, right? So this liquidity that came in here is trying to defend price here, basically. New Oriental, education system, China. It's still looking good. I like it. It's still got good momentum. Doesn't look like it's distributing too much. It's had decent pullbacks to kind of equalize the move, and that's really what you're looking for here. You're looking for those equalizations. I got it kind of either breaking out or coming back all the way to the 7.6 right here, which is 1792. Let's move into EOS. EOS still in a bullish div, can fall back again. I had this long-standing trend, could get a nice bounce off of that. I'm looking for a bounce at the 2. I want to see it get to 2. This is really what I'm looking for EOS. To get a 2x on this, I can hop back out, wait for accumulation, come back down lower, and get back in on that accumulation phase. Continue to watch this trend. Got a bullish div right here on the RSI. So it could continue to bid here. As soon as it makes that first jump, though, don't anticipate EOS just turning around and going the other direction. I would be highly cautious and think that EOS, take the resistance as your take profit, and then let it bid lower or let it break out, confirm, and then you can get back in. Dow Jones. So I had this. I showed you guys this. Remember when it was up here? Now look at it. Told you guys. Look at that. I was like, this thing's has potential to break out, but I think it's going to break down. And that's exactly what it's doing. Dow's going to come all the way back down here to 31278. Previous trend, macro high. And potentially it should bid off of this. I would expect a bounce here, right? Around 31253. I'd expect a bounce on price. And then it could bid a little bit higher, come back up to resistance, I think right about in here, and then roll back over. And that's where it's sitting right currently, as you can see right here, right? It started building as if it were going to do a breakout move, and it broke down and invalidated the breakout move. So that's no longer valid. And I think it's going to reverse to the downside. So be careful with this one. The Dow folds, a lot of things will fold with it. Cryptocurrency market. What did we say, guys? What did we say? Anybody? Go ahead and comment on this. Nobody remembers the conversation around this? Right here? And right here?
Asset rotation.
Yeah, that's it. I told you guys they were literally going to fall right off of this. For those of you who aren't paying attention, I want you to look. All the hypium, hopium, pay attention to this. Just this one thing. You don't have to listen to anything else I say. Look. What are they doing there? They're washing the market. That's all they're doing. They're washing liquidity in the zone. Now, again, the question is that to move lower or is that to bid higher? That's always the question, but that's what this is. This is an accumulation distribution zone. It's both. Why is it both? Okay, so I'll tell you.
Because it's ranging?
Yes. Whenever you are ranging, you are in a accumulation distribution zone. Usually that tells you continuation pattern. Continuation patterns move in the direction they started. This started up here, which means if it continues, it will go lower in overall cryptocurrency market cap. Now, I'll tell you why. I want people to truly understand why. The reason is because you've got a sell wall and you've got a buy wall. And eventually one of these gives, and it's usually in the direction of the market. So if it's up, aka what was happening right here, right? See that? Sell wall, bid wall, right here. Very easy to see. What did they do? From the uptrend, continuation pattern. Price broke through, it moved up. Again, sell wall, bid wall, right? High and low, high and low. What happened? Continuation up. No sell bid up here. Price drops, pulls back, distribution, sell wall, bid wall on a downtrend, expecting this thing to continue down. Again, just my perspective on things. This is a very easy pattern to see. Again, very easy pattern to see with markets. Lucid. We kind of talked about this. I was looking for them to bid a little bit lower here, but they never did. So right about there. So this is kind of the trend I'm looking for right now for Lucid. comes back down, maybe hits like $6 or whatever, I'll buy again. I've been buying Lucid at these lows, just FYI for those who don't know. I'm not buying in huge accumulations. I'm just dabbling little bits here and there, 20, 30, 40 at a time, and just kind of buying them at the slower range. And if price bids lower at the end of the day. I am liking this stock overall. I like the things that they have going on. I think they have a bright future. That is a stock company, by the way. We can see the same thing here. So we get the sell wall, bid wall, right? From a strong uptrend, we get a continuation. Price then comes back into that zone after we get that move out. And again, what do we see here? Remember this on Bitcoin? Remember this move? We talked about this, right? Where Bitcoin topped, broke out, and then broke down. So we have to be careful with this, right? I don't like seeing these breakouts that break back into the previous zone, because when you break back into previous price zone, typically what you'll tend to see is if they can't get back above here, you'll see them start to come back down here and accumulate again, and then you'll see them start to bid lower in the previous price ranges. So you do not want to see that. That will be really bad for the stock. And it could, if you guys want to see what that looks like devastation wise, it's typically one of these type of pullbacks. So those can get nasty. So I would be very careful here with PepsiCo if you guys are in it. I'm not sure it wants to bid higher the way it broke down here, but this would be the kind of your accumulation zone for me, would be between here. Again, war stock, I think overall those do well if you like to dabble in those things. Lockheed Martin, I had the breakout trade here, broke out beautifully, accumulated at the high. I like this, and I think that we will continue up from here for Lockheed Martin. I think this is bullish looking. Moving into Amazon, clear rejection. I will tell you guys 100%, like I'm starting to get really bullish on this stock. I'm really starting to get bullish on this stock. Because while I'll tell you, while everything else was running, who was getting hammered? Which stock? Amazon. This whole run, everything was running, and Amazon was continuing to get hammered to the downside. The more bearish something looks, the more there is to it, right? And then not only that. Okay, that's just a thesis at the end of the day. That's not price action. I'll show you. We got a clear accumulation distribution zone, which is what we're holding. And then our RSI looks tapped, right? Can it come a little lower? For sure. But when you start reaching these ranges, you're looking for a massive bounce. And we're on the monthly, the highest time frame you could be on. Amazon's nearly bottomed out. Now, if you wanted to, you could wait till the 30. I think it will reach the 30 on the RSI. Wait for that price to get in. I'm not buying here. I want it to come down more and show me where it's at on the RSI at that point. And I think there's potential. There is potential. We could see Amazon move to this zone. And I think that'll be the bottom for Amazon at 71.05. Now, could it go deeper? For sure. I want you guys to understand that too. I'm going to give you a very bearish thesis. So if we look at this on the weekly over here, where are we at on the weekly? On the MA.
Below 200.
We're below it. That is very bearish. Let me show you Tesla real quick. What happened to Tesla when it got below the 200 weekly moving average? Here, let's go ahead and clear all this. See that? Look at that.
That's a nice one.
Very similar move, guys. Very similar move. And I think Amazon's looking to rip at some point. Do I think it's sustainable? No. So it's not a long-term hold. I'm just wanting to ride the momentum. So I think Amazon is looking to maybe momentum trade from this low all the way back up to this 138. And, I'll take profit. That's basically it. It bids a breakout of the bearish div, which a lot of these have broken out of, and then it just rolls back over again and comes back down. So when I say bullish, it's not it's not time for me to buy yet, but it's time for me to buy temporarily, right? And that's why I'm kind of watching. I'm watching the stock very, very, very closely because of that. I want to see a retest of the low. I want to see a bottom in the RSI on the monthly, and I'll be good on that. Like I'll take that. I'll take that trade based on momentum. USD peso. Okay, USD picking back up against the peso. Filipino peso, by the way. So Filipino peso started to lose more value. Looks like it's holding. I like this zone because again, we got the W, right? And we're holding the center. And this is the same thing that dollar did before the dollar started breaking out again. So if the dollar gets the peso here, and again, if it's showing dollar obviously is going to break the peso, right? So if you have Filipino pesos, if you guys are Filipino or no Filipino people, then might want to convert to the dollar because I think this thing's going to rip against the peso, and the peso is going to lose a lot of value against the dollar. It's a good time. So currency exchange is another way to manipulate money / make money, just for those of you who don't know. Because let's say you have 100,000 in Filipino pesos, 100,000 US dollars in Filipino pesos, then the dollar rips against those pesos, and all of a sudden now that's you got out at 50, and now that's 60. Well, that's a 20% return on your money just to flip back into peso. And then as long as you're hitting resistance, you're good to go. Like you got a good position. And then if the dollar starts breaking down against the peso again, now you're back in the trade basically against the dollar, where the dollar is weakening, the peso's increasing. And that's how you can manipulate currencies, to see you guys know. That's why people do the currency trade. A lot of people don't realize that, but like you can do pips, you can do lots of different things with currency trade. So currency trade is a very lucrative market. Even I would say even more lucrative than a lot of people think that stocks are, right? A lot of people like to remain in cash, and the best way to do that is to trade currencies. All right, let's move into AR. I mean, this is for me is a low, like, right? We did get the breakdown here, but we pulled right back above it. We do have a solid downtrend here. I don't know. You had the reversal here. The reversal looks like it played out. This might not be a good play, actually. Looking at it, yeah, I would probably avoid this right now. The reverse already played, it looks like, and then it's already rejecting hard. So even if it tries to play higher, I think that's it for that one. Flux, nice looking rejection here, holding the lows, could roll back out, by the way. That's what I would anticipate. 130 move, but we'll see how that plays out. Gala, this is why I told you guys don't buy Gala. So I look at it. I knew this was going to happen. I freaking knew it. They literally just played everybody into getting into this. Gala's going to pull all the way back. Next support is probably around like 3 cents. I told you guys this before. I'm looking for 3 cents on Gala. And then if it can bounce there, great. If it can't, it's going to break all the way back down to the lows.
Let me call Matt and let him know.
Dude, I've been telling people this though. Like since
I sold it when you told me to. When you said it, I sold it.
Yeah, up here, I was telling you guys, like, dude, just sell it. It's got a bearish div already rolling in. Like, it wasn't looking good up here. And then so, good.
I was just gonna say that gives me hope for the next bull run, man.
Yeah, 100%. And hopefully, by the time the next bull run comes around, a lot of you guys are trading. And I don't mean like you have to actively day trade, but you're able to take profits when you need to. You're able to identify those positions in the chart, like, hey, I need to get the hell out of this thing, and move on to something else. Right. If you as long as you're consistently moving through the market's like it's like a highway with like many different roads, right? You don't have to go straight down the highway. You can take any off ramp you want. So like whenever you see an off ramp, you can jump off and jump onto something else. Like there's always another off ramp to put your liquidity and make more liquidity. Like you don't have to FOMOing into something. If you did 100x, get the hell out, guys. Like just it's done. The rip is done. Yes, you can do another 100. You can do another 50, 20. It's not worth the risk. Take that 100x you made, roll it into 10 other assets. 2 of them perform, 8 of them fail, but those 2 that performed outdid your portfolio 4x more, right? That's the way you have to view it. You always have to do it that way. It doesn't mean gamble. It means like put them in real things that can create wealth.
Because
Try
you
to
know
create
how
wealth.
fast it comes down, don't you?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This is
Seconds.
like a rock. But yeah, so that's Gala. I still expecting lower lows. Like I said, this is an engulfing move right here. This pretty much engulfed the entire upside of the move. This upper zone has been completely engulfed, in my opinion, and I think this thing's going to continue to roll down and hit this low. Again, 3 cents. Once it hits that liquidity, good support right here. Could pull back up, hold this low right here. So could try and hold right in here. If it holds here, bounce back up, maybe it could do like Bitcoin did, right? It could just come down, bounce back up, and then roll over here. Bearish div, so on and so forth. Just look for those type of moves. Rivian, again, we talked about this, bullish div on Rivian. I am bullish on it based on the bullish div. I have no other way to identify liquidity other than bullish divs. Again, I'll explain the bullish div. The bullish div, less people are buying here. Way more people are buying here. You can tell that based off of strength, right? Strength means way more people are buying at the lows, less people are buying at the highs. That means people are identifying macro lows. Maybe it's even retail, right? But people are identifying macro lows and they are buying macro lows. And they're doing it. Yeah, they're getting smart. Exactly. And they're doing it at the amount and the rate that it's keeping strength higher than when price was lower. Or sorry, higher, right? So their strength here is higher when strength was lower, when price was higher. This means less buyers here, more buyers here. So what that means for you guys, I'm going to tell you, the straight up answer here is that more interest is at buying at these lows. And even if price continues down, what does that mean for interest? It means there are interested buyers in this stock. Because if there weren't interested buyers, strength would not be rising. It means that even if price continues lower, buyers will get more and more aggressive on the move, and that's what causes reversals. Does that make sense, everybody? Did I say that
Yeah.
too crazily?
See what I already put for the long term. I just bought 500 on TD American Trade. I'm just leaving it there, for the long haul. And my reason is because when back in October of last year, when the video was down to 108, I didn't buy it and put
Oh
it.
yeah.
You know what happened. So now I'm listening to you. You hear me today. I already bought in this and I'll leave it in there.
Exactly. Let me give you guys a quick example. Okay. Tesla in 2012. Guess how much it was worth? Nobody? No guesses?
$25.
Any others?
$2.34.
$6.38. $6. That thing ran to $2,000 in 2021. Think about it. You have to be smart while these things are low. And that's why I'm paying attention to these companies that people are shitting on. If you go on the internet, everybody talks crap about Lucid. You go on the internet, everybody talks crap about Rivian. And they're all Tesla holders. They have a good reason to do so. Those are competitors to their position in Tesla. So the loudest noises in the room are usually the ones that you want to pay attention to. Why? Because they're usually telling you the opposite of what you should be doing. Buy Tesla. No. Buy something like Tesla that has less liquidity that can give you more money in the long run. Same thing with Netflix. Guess what Netflix was? I think it is 2001, something like that, 2002. Go ahead and guess the price. Nobody?
$3.45.
I think it was $1.38. $1.38. These are stocks that have done thousands upon thousands upon thousands of percent, and not just done thousands on thousands on thousands. While crypto will make you fast money, it's only fast money if you get the hell out. Stocks make you fast money, and they generate it at such a speed in 10 years or whatever that even with their drawdowns, you're up significantly. Cryptos will draw down 98%. You have to take profit in crypto. 100% have to take profit. I don't care what nobody says you have to take profit in crypto. And I always allocate some of my winnings I get in crypto to stocks. Why? What am I trying to do when I do that? Well, with a lot of, I'm trying to preserve. I'm preserving my wealth. I don't degen my whole net liquidity, because if you degen your whole net liquidity, you won't have any eventually. Eventually that will go wrong. You got to preserve some. Even if you have a little bit. I know some of you guys probably like, I only got a $500 portfolio. I got to bet it all. Okay, what are you going to do if you lose that 500? You're not going to be able to do anything. You're going to start over from scratch. If you got $500, use 300 to preserve, maybe even 400, and play with the other 100 to try and create more liquidity. I know it doesn't sound like anything crazy, but I can tell you, I know, look, I know of at least 8 people, and this is in the crypto space, that put $100 to $500. And I'm not telling you guys to degen. I'm just telling you, like, this is why you don't need that much risk. And they got $500,000 to $1 million return. Now, will that happen for everybody? Very unlikely. Very unlikely. But I want you to understand that you don't have to risk as much as you think to create wealth. You just don't. Play the moves, get in, get out, take your liquidity, compound it, move it into other things to preserve it, keep some of it to keep on building it. And as you build a bigger and bigger portfolio, you can risk more and more and more. But you need to continue to build your portfolio. You're not building your portfolio, you're losing your portfolio. If you're losing your portfolio, you're doing things the wrong way, 100%. BBY, come back down to lows. I'm not interested in this in a long-term perspective. This is a gamble for me. And I think, you know, taking it from here, running it high, it's going to happen eventually. So we'll see how this plays out. Again, I think the only way to make money in this is on calls and puts, but I think if you get in calls and puts on this thing can turn either direction on you. This can turn really bad. This is like the low for BBBY for me. I got burned on this a couple of plays. I made some money on a couple of plays, but like, I'm not interested in playing it anymore. It's too dangerous. So yeah, I did make my money back that I got burned on and extra, but I just, you learn, you get your hand slapped a couple of times, you learn a lesson, right? So I'm definitely learning my lesson. So moving up here to the highs, again, peso versus dollar. I think peso still outpacing dollar, probably all the way up here. And I told you guys this around 5.6, right? So I think this is the rejection zone for the peso. I think moving into dollar from peso around 5.6 is a good position to be taking. And then from there, I would be looking for that to draw back. And then you can get back into peso over dollar, because I think that the peso will outpace dollar. I think the dollar is in a topping zone. It's just not topped yet, right? That's the thing.
I have a question about that.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at that a couple of days ago, and I was like, okay, why is the peso out performing the dollar? And was it, well, I was just kind of thinking of reasons why that was. And is it because like a lot of Latin Americans live in America and they send money back to Mexico?
It could be the case. Typically, those will stay in dollars if that happens, because dollar has more value to them. But I would say that personally, I think their economy is doing better than ours. As crazy as that sounds. and I'll tell you from the perspective of a couple different reasons. Where is Tesla currently building their next gigafactory?
Mexico.
I guess Mexico.
Mexico.
Yep, exactly. So when you look at things like that, that tells you kind of where people see value. And that's helping build Mexico's infrastructure, which is allowing their currency to rise at a faster rate than the dollar. Even though the dollar is rising, their currency is rising faster than the dollar, basically. And this is a good way to evaluate currencies too. You can kind of see what markets are doing better than ours, and you can kind of see who's recovering faster. But I am also saying here too that I think that that's going to come to a standstill once the peso right here, the Mexican peso gets to this 5.6, right? Once you get to this position, I think that that's going to reverse, and the peso is going to lose value, and the dollar is going to rise against it. So this is something I'm watching pretty closely. This is like the key zone to be watching. If it can break above this, great. Then the peso is going to really outpace the dollar. It's going to be nuts. Then it might be better for us all to buy pesos over dollar.
I don't know, senor, because usually that's also like manipulated because they want to be able to keep it a certain way, so more companies come in because of the cheap labor.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly my thoughts too. Is like I think the currency over there is very very manipulated just for that factor. Same thing with China. China does the same thing. Think about it. They want to keep their labor cheap, so they try to keep their currency low. Can see kind of hitting that high here. That's not a hold for me. That would be a take profit if you're in that Kyber network. I don't even know why I watch that anymore. I just don't find it interesting that much. I'll have to look into their ecosystem, see how they're doing. So if you look again, we talked about this as being like a longer term distribution zone. It's getting lower. Like these lows were way higher than this low, right? So to me, when you start to see a decline in lows like this, that's telling me that momentum is really losing its edge here on this stock. And if you lose enough momentum on something that you're trying to just hold up and hold up and hold up and hold up, eventually this thing's gonna really flush, right? And it could just get crushed. Like I can't justify telling anybody to buy Tesla here just based on the patterns I'm seeing of these round tops, right? It just makes no sense. I think people should wait on that one. I don't think it's a buy. And I'll give you the other perspective. Like this is the run right here. Look, 19 going into 20. This is 21. This is 21. This is like quadruple what the move was over here. I mean, granted, some of the stimulus money, I get that. I can get on board with that, but like that's got to get flushed out, a lot of that. And that's really what I think the Fed's intention is with the interest rates, is to flush this money out of these markets and push these markets to a level that's more reasonable for pricing. So you can interest buyers, right? That's really the biggest thing. Yeah, we'll look at AVAX just a second. Hex, again, we talked about this being the high. Looks like a good rejection zone. I think Hex is gonna fall off of this and come back hard. This is the macro high, guys. This is the macro high on Hex. I didn't see them get back up there, but I guess they did. So I was wrong. I'll admit that, but I don't see them breaking through it. 100% don't see that. If price can get to a reasonable amount, sure. Yeah, I'll take a bid on Hex. I think it's something that people are interested in. They are building products and chains and things like that. So it's worth taking a chance on. I'm not gonna put a substantial amount in it now. I'll put a little bit in it. At the end of the day, some of it's just hedging, right? You want to hedge just in case, so you don't miss the upside of the move. And again, it's not a FOMO talk. It's just you just throw a little bit in and hedge and see how it works out. And really, that's TA money wise, it does have price action. It does have interest. So, it seems like somebody's trying to float AMD hard here. I think personally, this thing's looking to dump. They're continuing to try and float price up here. This to me is a massive distribution. AMD has a good potential to come back to this 44, right? His previous prices over here. So that's really what I'm looking for AMD. Might even break a little lower, right? Might even break a little lower, which would be pretty crazy. I wouldn't like to see that because I'd be breaking previous highs, previous order blocks, and then support kind of gets lost and then footing gets lost, and this thing could really tumble if that happens. Neo, something else I've been watching. Again, this is the buy zone, guys. I know it's scary because it's pushing into the support, but like stair step down. We keep talking about it. We keep seeing these stair steps on many different stocks. Okay. If you want to play the moves, you got to buy low, sell high, buy low, sell high. That's your moves here. It's really easy. These are really easy plays to be taking. And remember, if price breaks below your move, then you just have positions in place to sell you out of your position for the next leg down. That's basically it. You're going to lose some from time to time, but as long as if you're in these moves and playing them on these stair steps, you should make enough liquidity where you can take a little bit of drawdown to stop you out to get into the next stair step and play the move again, right? You just got to be on top of consistently paying attention to that. And like, if I were in this, like, you just set a stop below this wick. If price breaks below that wick, it's more than likely going to stair step down to the next liquidity zone, which I would take all the way down here, right? You're going to take a little bit of drawdown, but like, you're not going to take the whole thing. You're not going to cut in half. And then you can play this next move because it'll more than likely find support over here. If that happens for Neo. KSM hit the high, not going to lie. I thought they were going to push up to here because of the way they were moving liquidity. Looks like they already broke below. They get it open underneath. That's going to be bad. 23 hours till they can close. They could have closed under and then they're going to drop. If that happens, not straight down, nothing moves in a straight line, guys. They'll probably take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months before they draw down, or maybe sooner. We'll see if Bitcoin falls over. DOT. Yeah, I think DOT's a sell. I think this thing's gonna roll over. Get a nice hammer, shooting star right there, right? Shooting star is a down reversal pattern typically. So this right here, I'm looking for it to roll back over. Same thing out with coin. I'll show you guys coin too. Let me get to that, which is Coinbase. Massive distribution. Again, I think this is an accumulation. I thought they would come up, hit the high here. Looks like they're kind of resisting, so they may just roll down. But I'm looking for them to kind of stare down. I don't expect them to kind of do any crazy moves from here. Then the crazy moves already occurred up here for Beyond Meats. ETH BTC, same thing. Look at what ETH BTC has done. Ranging, right? They had a little bit of break of structure here. This kind of semi-invalidated the range. So I'm expecting them to kind of recoup lower, right? Why am I expecting them to recoup lower? I'm expecting them to recoup lower because they broke the range to the downside here, not to the upside, to the downside. So the reversal back up, and I'm expecting them to fall back over and create a lower low based on liquidity over here. That'll hit right over here. Now I know I say liquidity because this is ETH against BTC. That means that ETH will ultimately be losing dominance against BTC, and ETH will start to lose its market share. And that'll start to slowly seep back into BTC or out of the market. Either way, BTC price or dominance goes up, ETH dominance goes down based on that, and you'll see ETH start to lose against BTC based on that. XRP hitting the highs again, accumulation, distribution, up here at the high. I don't know with this one, man. This one looks really weird the way it's set up. It's got a solid macro downtrend. I really don't like that. From 2021, it's just been under this downtrend. No really bullish divs or anything. It's just kind of chopping sideways underneath the 50, one of the most dangerous positions you could be in on monthly. So nothing really to say here. I mean, there's some highs and lows here, but if you want to play it, you can play it. Chinese yuan. So I showed you guys the high here before it fell over. Came back up, hit, came back up, hit. Now it's starting to fall back down. But we have a solid distribution accumulation on the yuan right here. So watch that. You can play the lows and highs there. See how that plays out. Moving into YFDI. I knew it. I told you guys. I told you they were going to do it. I told you. They literally just started running sideways here. I was like, this is looking good. They primed it, right? See? Dead price action. What happened after dead price action? Anybody? Pump, yeah. It found support. It started trading sideways. No price action. Pump. This thing is going to run. I can almost bet you that. They're probably going to start slowly pushing towards what? Towards the high.
All-time high.
They're going to push back towards that.
What was it,
Now-
last year or the year before? 90, it went up what? 99?
Yep.
Something like that.
Yeah. And I show you here on this one, the stairs. Look, stair step sideways, drop, stair step sideways, drop, stair step sideways, pump, stair step sideways, pump, stair step sideways. Look at it, guys. I can't make this stuff up. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Look, where's it hitting? You guys see that? If it gets higher, where's it going to hit? Look. Just look for price action, guys. Literally just draw some boxes, draw some lines, figure this stuff out. You guys will get it. I promise you'll get it. All right. US Gov. Look at that. Look at that 10-year. Pushing back up. Called it right here on the roll up. Now they're starting to move on that. They're going to push back up, hitting about 4%. I think it's where they'll get. I want to see them run for this 5. I really want to see them run for this 5. This 5 is a solid position to be taking. Again, it has a nice consolidation in here. If they run for the 5 here, I think this will be the top. All right, that'll be the top. I've been holding this chart for a long time.
Yeah, but isn't that an imbalance there? That
up here? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they're coming
So
back
that's
to
why I
fill.
think it might rip down.
Where at? Up here?
Yeah.
Yeah, it could. It could come up, hit, and then roll back. But it's got so much support here that I
Right.
think that all that would do is that would result in a drawdown into a move back out. Because they keep retesting this move, right? The imbalance kind of got filled over here. And then they're coming back for that liquidity. They're coming back for that position. I always say liquidity because that's the way I look at a lot of these charts. I'm like, okay, liquidity. This isn't a liquidity chart. It's more of a percentage chart, right, of what's being gained. But these charts move very similarly to liquidity. So we'll see how it plays out. But I think the move that they're going to take here is they're going to break through and go, or they're going to pull back, get the momentum and go. Now, I don't think it'll take a long time like I got right there. I think what it'll do, if they do fall back, I think it'll be like this and it'll be a sharp move, right? And that sharp move will then reject hard. Because this will become a distribution zone, aka heavy buyers. There's a lot of buyers sitting and waiting for that 5%. So they hit that 5%, that's going to be an instant rejection almost for me. And I think like when you look at it from that perspective, we're going to pull back hard from here. And when bonds pull back, so those of you don't know, when bonds go down, that means buyers are stepping in. When bonds go up, it means sellers are stepping in. Bonds move in the opposite direction of the actual buys and sells. So again, buyers bond percentages go down, sellers bond percentages go up. There's a lot of sellers of bonds and not a lot of buyers of bonds right now because everybody's looking at here's the real imbalance. I'll give you this, Billy. The real imbalance is people are looking at charts and they're looking at Google, Tesla, all these other ones. They're like discount, right? So what they're doing is they're allocating their positions to stocks and not allocating because they're low, right? And not allocating the bonds. And that's driving the bond market higher and higher and higher. And eventually the bond market will be enticing for all players. And they're going to want to get back into the bonds. And then you're going to see a tank from that move on the bonds. Because when they all start entering the bonds, they're going to do it all together. Right. And that's where you'll start to see that round off move on the bond market where it's starting to roll over. And once that rollover happens, about midway through that rollover, probably around in here, will be the bottom of the market. So, and then the bond market will continue to drive deeper. This will be the bottom of the market. And then the bond market will continue to drive sideways. And then the market will have already fully recovered by the time we get to here. And then bonds will start to get sold out again. And then your top of your market will be somewhere probably in here. So it's kind of like a weird inversion between top and bottom, but it usually happens as the curve starts to occur on the bond market on the high end, and it usually starts to occur as the curve has already occurred on the low end of the market for the top. Coming here for the CFDs, oil. Again, I'm still expecting ABC. The oil has not broken for me. I'm still bullish on oil. Oil is still holding these highs. It's been holding them the whole time. I think they're going to round out here. And you can see it. It's slowly moving down, guys. There's no significant price action and sell-off in oil. So because there's no sell-off in oil, there's an accumulation, I think, going on here. And I think oil is going to roll back up, hit a higher high, and then get obliterated, right? And if oil rolls back up, that's going to be where the market's going to turn down hard. Because if oil's rolling back up, that means inflation's rolling back up. I want you guys to understand that. Again, we talked about this with SPY. I think the SPY is rolling over. I'll get to your coin there too. So don't worry, boys. So I think SPY is rolling over personally. Again, I don't like seeing these moves where they can't reach the top of the channel, because if I do a channel, I want them to reach it. They did do it solid here catching support, right? Support looks great. I love it. Support is perfect. I just don't like seeing lower highs on a channel. I want to see, if I want to see bullish momentum, I want to see them come in, dry price, pull back, dry price, pull back, dry price. That's a strong uptrend, right? If you can catch a strong uptrend, I'm completely on board with bull. Completely on board with bull. It just, once you start to see that weakness in the uptrend, that's where you have to question. And not only did you catch the weakness here, this is a solid resistance / support of previous price. So you have to be really careful in the zone to try and assume an uptrend from here, especially if you catch a rejection here. This is an out position. You need to get the hell out if it gets to this point. All right, moving into 2-year. Look, Billy, we're calling this since last year, bro. Look at this. I'm so close. I'm so close.
You've been saying it.
I'm so close to reaching it. I'm sorry, guys.
We got fake out Monday now, so might bring it down a little.
Oh man, I've look. Everybody told me I was stupid over here. Like, there's no way it's gonna get to 5%. I was like, we'll see. we definitely are getting there. We are so close to that 5%, and I think it's gonna be something like this. I think it's gonna be epic. So the market started to roll over here as bonds started to get bought. This was the bottom of the stock market right there. And this is where people continue to buy bonds, even though they weren't at a good, stock market bottomed. So nobody realized the stock market bottomed until too late. But once you start to catch that rollover, that's where you start looking. You really start looking hard. Like, all right, we started rollover in the bond market. We need to start looking hard for bottoms in the stock market, because when the bond market starts buying, that's where true fear is setting in, right? If you ever see the bond market go on a buying spree, the bond market is scared. That means that the bond percentages are declining. And if bonds are scared, because they're scared of the market, right? That means the market's going to turn down hard. It means people are rotating assets from market to bonds. Moving into shop. So again, good distribution accumulation zone here. I like shop personally. I think that's a good wave zone. I think we're going to continue to wave here, at least for now. And again, I think this is our first stair step. So we didn't have a stair step prior. This is our first stair step, and we have good potential to create a second stair step here. So we just got to pay attention. This is just a bigger stair step, right? Follows previous price action. Went a little bit deeper here, got a lower low, which makes me question whether or not this thing reverses out. And I think it'll probably drop down low. RSI bottom. So we got that big pump, right? We always look for that bottom of the RSI. You start hitting the 30, you got to start looking for that reversal. Price then moved against and then took off. Rumble, I think Rumble's going to come all the way back down personally. We're really high, deflected right off the 50. I think we're going to come back down to the 30, which is going to bring price right back down to here. Adobe. Man, I think this ran. It's very similar to over here. Very, very similar. I think it's going to cool down the way it started, right? So I think this is it drove high, going to come back down. I think people are going to expect the higher move. It's going to go like this, just like it did right here. That's what I'd be looking for here. And that would be really good because it's kind of like a falling wedge here if that happens. And that would mean that Adobe is looking to break out later on, right? But it'll be a good buy. If this thing starts to tighten on its way down, look for a falling wedge based off of here to here and here to here on Adobe, and look for a potential breakout somewhere, you know, around this lower liquidity zone. And that could be really bullish for Adobe long term. A lot of these stocks have lost so much liquidity that it may take them years to get back up to where all-time high is. Just telling you guys. Home Ag Group. Oh, yes. This is the breakdown I was looking for. Look, that was the solid support. We're below it now. Housing market looks bad. These guys are big on the housing market. You guys can look them up, but if this broke, man, we could see this thing come way down. And you guys can see from a bigger perspective here, I got this like wedge going on here, this tightening wedge. And really, I think this thing will be a breakout move later, but that's a long way down. That's a long way down. And then we'll curve up real nicely here. I think this is the floor support. Now, keep in mind too, we could see a higher move, like maybe it doesn't come all the way down, it hits like right in here. So I'll be watching this midpoint and this lower point here for Home Ag. Solana, solid rejection. Again, macro resistance, nothing too hard here to see. I think Solana's going back down. So couldn't even make it up to its previous resist. I thought they were going to come up, hit the resist, and come back down. They weren't even able to penetrate the previous macro high. Silvergate. Oh, it's looking bad, guys. It's looking real bad. Man, I don't even know if I could tell you guys to buy this at this point. These guys do a lot of liquidity for crypto. And if they go under, you can see a nice crash in crypto. Just saying. These are liquidity providers for a lot of exchanges and stuff. Disney at the high end of the range. I wouldn't buy until it come out and hit this trend, really, personally, about $81. ADA. Still at the high end of the range. I think they're going to roll back down, to be honest with you. I think we will see the lower lows for ADA. BNB, again, I can't say it enough. High end of the range, rejection, coming down. I want to see it fill this. I'm not a buyer of BNB until it fills this fair value gap. I'm just not. It's so ridiculous. And people like, oh, you're just upset that you missed. I didn't miss nothing. I'm not upset at all. I bought it well before this. I sold out up here, and I am not getting back in this thing unless it comes down. I'll buy something else. It looks very manipulated. I'm not gonna lie. All right, again, I think that's a nice round top on Bitcoin. Bitcoin, again, I think they might pump, right, and try and hold price up here at these higher zones to keep people committed and keep people, you know, hype-em, and keep them buying to create buying liquidity so they can sell to you. And I think that this thing is going to retrace, you know, like down to this 19K zone. I think they're going to come back down to these lows. If they come back down to these lows, I would consider a buy. Again, the reason that I would consider a buy at 19, it's better confirmation, and I'm looking at it from a higher time frame. Sorry, on the weekly, I think, or yeah, it's a weekly. Yeah. So I'm looking at it from a higher time frame, and that's basically, I believe it was here to here to here to here to here to there. Or sorry, here to there. And that would basically be a inverse HNS, head and shoulders. And if that happens, that could be a nice push to the upside. They might even break into this upper liquidity if that happens. Right. So something to pay attention to. Definitely don't forget that. Although I am bearish, I won't ignore the obvious that that plays out and ends up happening. That will take months to play too, by the way. It's not going to happen next week. It's not going to happen in a couple hours. Like that'll take months to form. That's on the weekly. ETH, again, look, guys, I can't make this stuff up. Look, what would happen if you sold every single time at 1680 when he got there? Anybody?
You'll be in profit.
Profit.
Yep. Then you put it back into the bottom again.
Put it right back into the bottom. Like you can't make this stuff up, guys. You just can't.
Compounding.
This is why, like, I tell people, buy each. Look, buy, sell, all the way across. Again, we got a stair-stepping pattern, right? And we talked about stair steps. What do they do typically? Move, stair step, move. We want a rounding move to get out. So if we get good.
I was reading into Australian taxes, and to make a swap, it's not actually considered as a sell, like a sell. You can do a swap. So, and a stable coin is considered a swap. It's still considered a crypto. So you can buy and sell, as far as I understand. I'll post a video on how it breaks down just for anyone in Australia.
That's
that
awesome.
wants to play that sort of move. I just need to confirm it, but I'll put a video up, and people can. It was just a really good breakdown, this video of how it all works. So yeah, that could be a definite play for anyone in Australia to trade like that without getting their without paying capital gains.
Crazy capital gains.
Yeah, it's like 50% under 12 months otherwise, if you take it out in dollars.
Yep. Yeah. So again, stair step, right? We go down, walk on the stair, go down, walk on the stair. We talked about this continuation pattern, typically with stair steps. And then we look for some kind of reversal, which is a build back up, right? So right now we are stair stepping with Ethereum, which is not a good look. It's just not a good look. You got tracked price action. Nobody's making money here unless they're trading. Nobody is making money unless they're trading. There's no big spikes. There's no crazy price. You are moving between 11,031 and 16,082. And if you're not taking profit, you're not making anything. All right, moving into Meta. Oof, look at that beautiful rejection on Meta, guys. Look at that. Crazy. Could even make it up to the high. I think Meta's going to come that hard. I really do. I think the people that hype this up, like look at Meta. Show me anywhere in the chart that looks like this. Other than this. When it first started.
Nowhere.
Nowhere. This is 100% FOMO. Meta's never, ever been this bullish. What, you think some news pushed bullishness on Meta? No, they tricked a bunch of people through the Chat GPT bullshit. They tricked a bunch of people through through all the other stuff, you know, sitting there talking about, oh yeah, metaverse, yada, yada. Like you're now trapped liquidity. That's what you are. Because Meta's going to come back down. Meta has never seen pumps like this. You better bet that these people are going to take profits that bought at the lows. They can see this just as well as I can. That's all I'm saying with that one. All right, let's go over the other one. What did Boris have? AVAX? Yeah, we can look at AVAX real quick. Oops, 21. Do I have it on here? I think I do. Ooh, that thing's getting wrecked. Axie Infinity. Oh my gosh. That's a nice dump. Look at that. That actually looks really good on the RSI. I like that.
Oh, when did that happen?
I don't know. That must have just recently happened. Look at it.
That looks.
That's where liquidity sits. So I would, yeah, I think I might take a buy on that. I might bet on that.
Actually, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at this, guys, like the liquidity is there. The liquidity is there. I might take a bit on this. I think this looks good.
They must have some good news coming up.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. The good news usually results in this, and then later on, it's, hey, we partnered up with the United States of America. Okay, well,
Boom.
everybody's gonna blow you up. But yeah, this looks solid. I like it. It's chart looks good. Bottom of the RSI, solid liquidity zone to be watching on the weekly. We got any divs here? We do have a little div here. Nothing too crazy though. I don't want to call a baby div. Double bottom here. Yeah, I mean, no divs or anything, guys. I don't want to get you overly bullish. I don't want to sell you on this, but I like where it sits as far as liquidity goes. So I get it on
I'd
that.
buy that.
AVAX. I think I got AVAX. Is that what this is? Ava? No. All right, let me just. Oh no, I do have it. Cool. All right. So I already got it charted. So basically what I was trying to show on this one is that liquidity here fell below, right? Bounced off, came back up, fell below. And what's it doing?
It's retesting.
Retesting.
And it's doing that, it's rounding off too.
Yep. And it's starting to fold at the top, right? To me, I think this is a distribution. The stochastics showing it as a distribution, we ever bought. RSI is following below the 50, showing that you're catching heavy resistance here. So I'm thinking like a rollover. I don't think it'll go very deep, to be honest with you, but I think this is a good profit taking position on AVAX. Because where the RSI sits, they might come back down to here again, like $11. I think it's just going to continue to retest the lows and running people, because another thing you look at here is you can look at it from this perspective too. It's another one. You got your high here, and then from there you got your low high here, and then you continue to create these lower highs and lower highs on this. So I would not take this as bullish, although your decline in lower highs here is less. Keep in mind it was less here too, and then it dropped a significant amount here, 85%. You know, and if it were to do a similar move here, slightly lower highs, and then all of a sudden drop another 85%, you are basically coming back to previous liquidity. If it makes the same move twice. Not saying that's likely, but you know, anything's possible at the end of the day. What I would do personally is if I was bullish on this, I'd probably take a buy or a bid around $10, you know, maybe all the way up to like 12. And then if it broke my low, being the previous wicks over here, go just below them. And if it broke my low of $9.13, that would be my exit position, which means I would sell my spot from there. And then this thing will probably continue to decline. First, it'll do a retest, and then it'll continue to decline because there is nothing holding this still up from there if it can get to that liquidity zone. So be careful if it breaks here. Again, that's your stop, that's your buy. And then, you know, if you're bullish, you can even buy a little bit higher. It should be able to return up higher if it's going to continue ramping up. Otherwise, it's just going to range. That's what I think of AVAX. All right. We are at the 3-hour mark. We got any like really fast questions or anything like that?
Just one quick question. I think it's Vivi. Was it Vivi that does the Marvel NFTs?
Yeah, their tokens OMI.
Yeah. How does that chart look at the moment? Just curiosity.
Oh, the OMI chart? Yeah, let me pull it up real quick. Oh, I didn't know OKX had OMI. I might have to make an account over there. Oh, this thing got obliterated. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if they got something cooking, but I'm gonna try and
I'm not gonna lie, I was buying in here, man. Like, oh my gosh. That's crazy. Pop back up. I mean, it looks all right. I mean,
just Yeah, I'm just wondering if they got something cooking, but I'm just going to research it a bit more. If
We
that
got- we
comes
got-
down,
We have a little bit, it's not really a bullish day. It's kind of angled a little bit, but it's not enough for me, right? Might be double bottom. It looks like it's just kind of trying to roll up, maybe retest the high here. Let's see, liquidity wise. Yeah, maybe right there.
Come on, go party.
Maybe like right there, something like that. We'll see. I don't see a lot here. This thing could very easily come up, roll over, right?
Mhm.
So I'd just say be careful with that one.
Yep. I hadn't looked at the chart yet.
gate-
I just had other reasons.
I was just gonna say the Gate IO chart has a little bit further back price action for you, just in case you want to look at it.
Yeah. What's going on here? All right. Yeah, I don't mind Gate.io. They manipulate their charts hard too. It's kind of the other problem with them. Because they open these tokens and then this happens, right? And then they dump them on the people that are on the platform. I think they take some of the tokens. Like if you look at every Gate.io, it'll open strong like this, and then it's just dumpage from there on whatever they list. It looks like to me, like based on this, like we fell below support and we're basically retesting that at the highs. I mean, this isn't super high. Like, you wanted to buy here, you could. Like, you haven't lost a lot in gains. What do you got here? 7. So, I mean, it's only up maybe like, what, 30%? Something like that. 30%? Yeah, about 30%.
Right,
So,
you're going fast. Yeah.
nothing too crazy. I would watch it. It looks like it's
You
holding
coming
price.
inside too?
Looks like it's accumulating though, doesn't it?
Yeah. So if you look at it from a sideways position, it's ranging here, right? So we talked about stair steps earlier. So there's a lot of stairs in this one. So you got one here and we got one here. So it's kind of stepped down twice. So yeah, you
It's sort of
could play the
building on
range.
the RSI, isn't it?
Yeah, it's building here.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a bullish diff.
Yeah, I mean a little bit. It's just time wise, I'd like it to have a much bigger one, kind of like what Bitcoin had.
Yep.
The little ones, like they'll usually tend to play out, but they don't like this could have been what played out from the bullish div, right?
Yeah.
When you got something like this with Bitcoin, like that's a much bigger building of a bullish div. So that's something I like to watch. Like when Bitcoin comes down, for instance, here, I'm gonna be looking for it to retest this bullish div and see if it can hold. And if it hits the bullish div and starts to hold wherever that price is, if it's hitting a support, like say this inverse head and shoulders theory potentially plays out. If it's sitting here and it's sitting on the bullish div and it's just kind of playing along the bottom here, that'll be confirmation for me to try and take a position for a long position. So that's like this is a significant trend. Like if anything with Omi's just now starting to develop that, right? So it's something I'd say I'd continue to watch. Maybe you could buy here at the lows if it comes back down. Buy here at the lows and continue to watch. But it's had these little spikes before and they just became exit liquidity later. It's good, Cheryl. I'm glad for sure.
Thank you, Will.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Sorry, not trying to like. I think over the long term, I think Omi is a great coin. I think VV is a great NFT company. So definitely something I watch regularly. But I just think the interest in the NFT department isn't there right now. I think people like if you're smart, you're accumulating at these lows, and then you'll be able to buy much cheaper in the bull run. Why? Because you're getting these at such low prices, and people in the bull run are not going to be able to exacerbate the price too high So they're going to ask for X amount of tokens as opposed to dollars, right? And that X amount of tokens will equate to a certain dollar amount. But if you accumulated $100 here and they're trying to sell it for 30,000, but you have, $100,000 worth of tokens, you didn't really spend much. See what I'm saying?
Yep.
And then you could flip that to somebody else for more potentially. You could also accumulate NFTs here too. Like either way works right now. If that's what you're into. But
Yeah, I'd stick with the token personally.
yeah, the token's usually where the liquidity is at.
You don't know what the next thing will be with NFTs, I reckon.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, the problem with NFTs is like it rotates from one thing to the next, and then like the attention gets drawn away from the previous hype, right? Like Bored Apes, there's not a lot of interest in that, I would say right now. And that's drawing the price down deeper. And now you got people talking about pudgy penguins and just weird stuff. But you got all these other things going on. I'd say I do pay attention to the NFT space too. You got all these other NFTs floating around, and really they're distractions from the bigger things going on, right? The bigger things going on is paying attention to the price and getting in at the right price zones. You got to ignore all the distractions. You're looking to build liquidity, not speculate building liquidity at the end of the day. All right. Yeah, I think we're gonna kind of call it there, guys. That's all right. And then I'll post this class here later on this evening once I get a chance for you guys that are gonna let it download, and then I'll upload it to YouTube and I'll shoot you guys a video.
Thanks, Will. It was a good
Thank
Zoom,
you,
man.
Will.
Thanks,
No
Will.
problem.
Thank you,
Will.
Appreciate you. Good one.
All right, we'll try to get on Monday, guys.
Later.
Adios.
All right, see you.
Bye.